10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Better believe it. Greetings, good morning, how you doing? Welcome into Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase. 9th day in November 2013. Glad to have you on board. Live from Studio 1. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. Glad to be a part of your morning. Like to welcome in tag team partner, the Hitman BDC. What's up, my brother? Ryan Adcock, how you doing?
I am here, buddy.
Beautiful day in paradise. Sorry about the late start for everything. I've actually been dealing with some major headaches here in Studio One, trying to get everything straightened out. Fortunately, those who know me know how AR I am about things, so even my backup plans have backup plans, and I think that's the easy way to say it, right, Ryan?
Indeed. Thank you for knocking.
Now, we're just going to go ahead and dive straight on in. First off, in just about 23 minutes from right now, we are scheduled to be joined by Gordon Shell, MMA fighter, animal activist, and star of the new movie, The Dog Fighter. Looking forward to having him on, finding out a little bit more about him, and one of the intriguing projects that he has in a continuance right now. Once again, that's coming up in just a little while on the Saturday Showcase. Robert Cosper, the Cause and Effects, scheduled to join us in just a couple of minutes. From the C&E Studios, I believe that's what he's going to be calling it now. I'm not quite sure. We're going to work on that concept. You sent me an intriguing text message. And Ryan, I'm going to let you run with this one. Go for it.
I did?
Yes.
Which text now? I sent you many. Which one are we referring to at this moment?
Vertically challenged.
Oh. You mean the fact that, like I predicted 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I can't remember, it's the fact that because the buy rates for pay-per-views are down and the buy rates for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown are down, that the powers that be are blaming people like Daniel Bryan?
Go with it.
Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes, it is.
Basically, they've decided to go back to pushing the bigger guys. That's why the Big Show's in the main event at Survivor Series. Because according to the powers that be, the reason all the buy rates are down is because they don't believe Daniel Bryan's world champion material. Just like I predicted they would do, which is ludicrous. But they've decided that they don't think he's a A-plus player.
Would you like to go ahead and expound an opinion on that one, or would you like for me to jump in first?
You go ahead. You go first. I'll back it up.
Idiocy.
Absolutely.
You reward talent no matter. It's like the overall, and I'm really kind of fumed about this. Fumed? No. Ticked? Yeah.
No, you're just fumed that I predicted it 2 weeks ago.
No, actually, I'm not. I hate to say it, but I quietly agreed with you to a great degree because I know the way that WWE has worked for a number of years. I mean, you got to remember, how often have we called it here on this show, all the way back to the 90s, all the way through today?
That's a good point.
WWE has always had a thing. Vince McMahon has always had a thing for WWE being the land of the giants. I.e., Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan. I mean, I do believe that Brett...
You can go further back than that. I mean, you can go...
Andre.
You can go Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy. You can keep going. I mean, it's always been... Vince has always been the muscle-bound or the big guy. Undertaker, Kane, I mean, it goes on and on.
I believe...
And I'm not saying those guys don't have talent. Some of those guys I mentioned don't have loads and loads of talent. Speaking about Mark Calloway and Kane. But that's just the way Vince is.
Well, it's disturbing, and it bugs me because you invest all this time, and lo and behold, you're going to hit the reset button that fast. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it on the line. From my personal perspective, and I put this up on Facebook earlier this week, people
of course, I wouldn't have known about that unless you told me.
Yeah, I know.
But I digress. Go ahead.
You don't do Facebook. I know you don't do social media. You stay hidden on the grassy knoll. Bingo. Leave it there. In an open letter.
But I like the man that got the credit for shooting from the book suppository. The guy that was on the grassy knoll, the one that actually did the shoot. So,
which bullet are you talking about? There were 3 involved.
It ain't the one that supposedly Lee Harvey Oswald fired. It was the one that was shot from in front.
There you go.
Because if anybody's seen the video off on a tangent, but if anybody's seen it, it's obvious that he was shot from the front.
Exactly. I know that video is pretty much out there. And the way that I've explained it is very simple. And this is something that I say to all wrestling promoters, all sporting promoters. If you put everything in perspective, fans are not going to spend their hard-earned money when they feel like it's being forced at them. It's one thing to let an organic rivalry build, or at least make it look organic. That's one thing that the UFC's been going through in recent days.
But let's go to the UFC, like you just said. The UFC has divisions.
Yes, they do.
Vince basically, for years, hasn't had that. I mean, they had the cruiserweights in WCW, and they got the X division in TNA for what it's worth. But I mean, Vince has just had world title holders. He's not had really he had one at one time, but at least in UFC, you have multiple level guys. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about. You don't have that with Vince. And Vince has always been a proponent of the big guy. You know that.
Definitely.
I mean, because he's basically, he's a bigger guy himself. He's what, 6'2", 6'3"?
In theory, yeah.
Along with his son-in-law, who's 6'3".
Yeah.
Maybe. look at the prototypes of the guys that are Daniel Bryan size that have been great world champions. I mean, you got Shawn Michaels, you got Bret Hart. Stone Cold may be 6'1" if he's lucky. I mean, it can be done if you don't organically blow up the storyline. But, Vince, the minute ratings go down, which you've been in this business long enough to know, and I haven't been in quite as long as you have, but I've paid attention for the past 15, 20 years. The ratings always go down this time of year.
It's always. Football season.
Exactly. You're going up against Monday Night Football. You're going up against college football. You're going up against MLB playoffs. You're going up against basketball. Ratings always go down in the summer.
Well, let's put it all in proper perspective. I know, Cos knows, everybody on this team knows that a real, or at least realistic, rivalry is always a solid thing. But when you start adding too much forced drama to an entire scenario, and you know the difference. Everybody knows the difference who watches it. Once again, it doesn't matter if it's mixed martial arts. It doesn't matter if it's professional wrestling. It can be boxing. It's one thing to set up and let a rivalry grow. It's another thing to shove it down the throat and the gullet of the public to where they're turned off by it. And believe me, same thing it can be in football, it can be in baseball, it can be in basketball, it can be in hockey.
But you don't have to force any of that drama like you do in professional wrestling.
Well, you've got
9 times out of 10 in boxing, the guys that are fighting don't like each other at that point. Now later on, down the road after the fight, they may like each other. But 9 times out of 10, that's one of the greatest motivational factors there is. When you're boxing somebody or you're MMA fighting somebody, you don't like that guy. And you don't have to force that.
I can't say
but Vince and WWE seem to ram that you have to hate this guy down your throat.
And it
started pre-SummerSlam when they started ramming the corporate, which, everybody knew Hunter was going to turn when he was named the referee.
Of course.
And they rammed that force-fed drama down your throat ever since then. And people are sick and tired of it, just like I told you they'd be.
Well, let me give you the perfect example. And this is how it works in a correct manner. Remember, I think it was about a year ago when you were dealing with a situation coming out of the Ultimate Fighter with Koscheck and GSP when they were the trainers for their respective teams? And Koscheck was shooting off the mouth, up one side, down the other, running down the other team, running down GSP. And I'm sitting back going, this is going to be good.
Yeah, but, I mean, you got to base that on this. It is a reality TV show. They're going to hype it up.
You're right. But when it came down to it, the Ultimate Fighter concluded, and GSP and Koscheck had their fight in the octagon. The second that fight was over, GSP completely exposed what Koscheck was doing. In no uncertain terms, he said, "I don't care what you think about him. He was doing everything he could to build up the fight, to hype the fight, to get to try to draw attention to the fight." And behind the scenes, Josh Koscheck is one of the nicest guys that you will ever run across in your life, and I agree with that comment. Koscheck did.
Then you got, what little bit I've got to see of it this year. I just don't think that Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey like each other.
I think there's a huge amount of jealousy involved there, not necessarily.
I do too.
And I'll also believe a huge rivalry there because, look, let's go back to Christiane Santos and Gina Carrera. There was some dislike there in more ways than one because of the fact of Carrera being handed so many things. Ryan, is that your truck?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Because
I got it fixed.
Because Carrano had been so-called handed a lot of opportunities that Christiane did not get. Christiane fought for hers, but she also built her reputation in a positive way. Until, of course, she got popped for PEDs. Lo and behold, now, Tate, I'm okay. I've watched her progress. I've watched her fight. I don't know her personally. I have watched and listened to the interviews with Ronda Rousey. I've watched Ronda Rousey since before Strikeforce. And she's
not on Ronda Rousey's level.
I don't believe so. I believe Ronda Rousey is the better fighter. The queen of the armbar, definitely. She'll take that son of a gun home and use it for a Christmas gift. It's like, look who I got this week.
Yeah, she could teach ADR a thing or two.
No.
Anyway.
Do me a favor, hang tight, folks. We're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to be back in 3 right here on the Saturday Showcase. Hang with us. By the way, I forgot to let everybody know this morning we will be conducting free hearing exams. If at any point in time the bumper music is too loud, guess what? You're not deaf yet, and we're not charging extra for that. Welcome back in. Saturday Showcase live, 25 after the hour. Fast Study Layne, the Hitman Ryan Adcock. Glad to be a part of your morning. Robert Cosper, probably, let's see, I'm willing to bet alien abduction, the Illuminati, or possibly even Budweiser came back to collect on an investment.
Auburn plays at 11 today, so he's already drunk. He had to get started early.
Yeah, I can't believe they moved the game up that early. I thought for sure, it's, if anything, push it back, take it a 1 o'clock start. It's going to be a good game.
I figured it'd be the 2:30 game on CBS, but who knows?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome in a very special guest at this time. Mixed martial arts fighter. Some would say semi-retired, some would say semi-active. I prefer the term semi-active. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, animal activist and the star of the new movie, The Dogfighter. Ladies and gentlemen, Gordon Shell. Gordon, welcome into Beyond Ringside.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, I want to lead in with the mixed martial arts side of life.
Okay.
Because there are so many different reasons why people get drawn towards MMA, and a lot of it comes from, of course, high school athletics, possibly college athletics. For you personally, what was your lead in? What attracted you to it?
All the way back to my childhood, I was a fat kid, so I was picked on a lot. But I grew up. I'm 44 years old, so I grew up, right when they were rerunning all the Bruce Lee movies. I can't say I was there for the originals, but it was the kung fu fighting Friday nights on Channel 50 in my area, and I watched every single one of those and the Chuck Norris movies, and just dreamt about martial arts. And my mom thought it was dangerous and didn't really want me to be a part of it, but I would do whatever I could. I'd be down in the basement with my little handmade nunchucks and kicking the poles in the basement and doing whatever I could to try to mimic what they were doing. And then in high school, I joined the wrestling team. I was an absolute horrible wrestler, horrible record, but I enjoyed the team and I enjoyed just being a part of it. And at 15 years old, I started bodybuilding just because I didn't want to be the fat kid anymore. So it was you either do something about the issue and stop getting beat up, or you just continue on with it and cry the blues the rest of your life. So started working out, got into wrestling, and then right after wrestling started in the bar business. I was a pumped up bodybuilder, and what's a pumped up bodybuilder do? I go and become a bouncer, and that was right around the time when all the blood sport movies were out and all those series were going on with pit fighting. So, the guys that had money in the bar would hand select us bouncers, and we basically were put into pit fighting after the bar. The bar would close. We'd get $100 to show, $100 to win, and we would go and fight after the bar. And it was, those fights didn't last long, and I didn't have any formal training, but all of a sudden, I was dominant in those, but all of a sudden a couple of guys showed up and just started eating our lunch, and they were martial artists. And you fight a guy just like you see in the ring now, and then we all go out for breakfast afterwards with our, $100 or $200.
Yeah.
But I started talking to these guys, and they introduced me to my new sensei, Randall Lee Mosier, and I started into Ishinryu karate, which is stand-up striking, and that became my base for many years. And I fought in tournaments for many years. And it wasn't a Nama karate; it was a hardcore. Randy Mosier ran a camp that, if you put a video camera in there in our classes, which was never allowed, people would have been surprised. I mean, the black belts were breaking, 2x2s over us while we're doing our katas. He's having us stand in the frozen river in his backyard. It was just all the crazy stuff that I watched in the movies that I thought that is the ultimate discipline. And then he passed in '96, and it just took me a while to find another art that I liked. But then I started in the jiu-jitsu, started in the Gracie jiu-jitsu, and then just kind of kept on evolving and got into the NHB, the no-holds-barred fighting back before it was gloves, and just did some of these unsanctioned tournaments in parking lots where they would just drive poles into the down into the blacktop and put a fence around us and some wrestling mats, and almost like big-time wrestling, but we were actually fighting. And that became not the real NHB, but we called it no-holds-barred fighting. We weren't fighting in truck docks anymore. Now we thought it was regulated. Hey, we have mats and a cage. We're not fighting in concrete. And then it just kept on evolving from there. And eventually the UFC came about and rules came about, and people started actually putting on safe events. And, I'm not going to say everybody has safe events because there's still backyard promoters out there right now, but everybody that I fought for later in my career all pretty much ran by pro rules. Joe Donofrio, Impact Fight League, TXC, Joe Battaglia, those guys all run their shows by pro rules. We get blood tests, he's got ambulances on site, doctors, referees, commissioners. So I felt safe, and that's basically a long story evolution of my getting into the MMA. And here I am, 44 years old, and I'm still training. The hopes of that super fight that I always talk about is a possibility. So we'll see where it goes.
That is definitely one of the topics. Sorry about that. Cough button work. That's one of the topics I really want to hit on. But now you were saying that you were really kind of horrible as far as the wrestling goes. What do you feel was your downfall in that?
Oh, now I'm better. I'm much better. I just the attention deficit in high school, it was more about being on the team. I liked the endurance training. I liked all that, but as far as doing drills and just keep on drilling, that just wasn't my... If I don't get something right away, I just give up on it. I've been trying to learn guitar for 15 years right now, and, just basically will never learn guitar. I'm not about sitting there and drilling that type of stuff. But if I really, really, really like something like, jiu-jitsu, I'm working with Don Richards. He was King of Cage world champion. When he has us drill things, he has us drill it in a way that you learn quickly, and you don't just drill the same thing over and over again for a full hour class. You get it, and then you execute it. We practice it. We roll for a half hour. We make sure we understand what we're doing with it, and then we move on. And then, we evolve it into something else in the next class. So it isn't... I get bored easily is my problem. So, doing drills wasn't my thing back in high school. As I get older, obviously I want to learn. In high school, you have that stubborn punk attitude, like, yeah, I know it, move on to the next thing, coach, and then you get your ass whipped in tournament.
Exactly. Now, I got to ask this question. You're 44, I'm 47, and I was watching the infancy of mixed martial arts as it is presented through the different promotions, whether it be Pride, all of the across the board from Japan all the way to the U.S., and I've noticed there is not only an evolution, but a de-evolution as far as the fighters. And I'm wondering if you've seen the same thing, because the reason why I say this, when mixed martial arts tournament format was originally introduced to the domestic audience, there was a true reverence about it because it was more about the sport. And I say this about a number of things. We saw one of the main features that we cover here on Beyond Ringside as well is professional wrestling. There's been, during the 80s, pro wrestlers were looked at as rock stars. And as time went on, that moved to TV stars and movie stars. I've seen in the world of mixed martial arts go from the reverence of the discipline and the excellence of the fighter to more of, and of course I thank the UFC for this first and foremost, not necessarily that is being sarcastic, more of a rock star attitude from a lot of the fighters, not only on a local level, but on the national level. Do you think that a lot of the kids are wanting to get involved in mixed martial arts nowadays because it looks like a rock star thing to do?
Absolutely. Before it was discipline, you send a kid in, and I come from a traditional martial arts background where, you're testing, you're doing your katas. I mean, some of our testing days, Randy would have us all sitting on our knees for 6 hours straight while we watched everybody test. It's brutal. I mean, and that's not something that a youngster would want to get into now. That's not rock star. And our dojo was locked down. You didn't have cameras. We didn't have video camera phones. You didn't videotape everything you were doing. I mean, I have no videos of all my tournaments. So you couldn't get that rock star persona back then. So it really wasn't that prestigious for these kids. It was kind of like going to soccer practice. You go and your mom and dad drag you there, and you got to go to soccer tonight. You can't go and play Nintendo. Now these kids want to go there, and I actually owned Four Aces Fight Club, and I had so many kids walk through that front door with zero experience, not even a wrestler, and they say, hey, can you give me a break on my membership, because when I make it to the UFC, I'll remember you and I'll bring something back, and I'm going to be the biggest star ever. And they have no experience, and they think I'm going to train them for 6 months. They're going to go to the Ultimate Fighter tryouts. They're going to get on TV, and they're going to be the biggest star ever. And that's the way they looked at it. And I think your traditional guys like GSP and those guys, they are traditional martial artists, and I respect GSP because he walks around and holds himself high. But then every so often they have to have him do something rock star because it's entertainment. Dana needs to be able to sell tickets and make money.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to take the quiet, disciplined, shut down personality. I mean, that was something that some of my friends, my closest friends, never came to any of my tournaments because I never invited them, because something my sensei taught me, and it was true, is you're going to go out in the world and you're going to tell people you're in karate. There's two things going to happen to you. One guy's going to want to fight you. The other guy's going to want to belittle you and tell you you're an idiot. Don't even tell anybody you're in karate. This is for you, not for everybody else.
Exactly.
So I just didn't go out there and announce it or parade it around, because the very first time I brought some of my younger friends to a tournament, they watched me do a kata, and it was a Sanchin kata, which is a boring kata. It's a breathing kata. Mm-hmm. And they were bored, were laughing at me, and they said, what the hell was that? And I said, you know what? That's the last time you guys are ever coming to any of my stuff. And so I just kind of, you learn to build a wall around yourself. And I think the true disciplinary martial artist, like a GSP, he has that discipline wall around him. He doesn't really want the cameras on him unless he has to. But then you get the Mayhem Millers of the world that want to paint their hair red and be the rock star. So, I mean, there's all those personalities. And right now, to get on the Ultimate Fighter, I know many people. I mean, friends of mine, Darren Cruikshank, Miles Jury, all these guys from Michigan that go there. And Darren's an awesome fighter. Miles is an awesome fighter. But I know 3 or 4 other guys that are incredible fighters that show up but have no personality. They're just awesome fighters, but they do not play well on the camera. And they don't make it. They don't make it through the auditions. you have to have personality nowadays to make it to the cage.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed as a simple factor, and you've used the word a number of times, and I genuinely respect and appreciate the word, especially when it comes to martial arts, not necessarily mixed martial arts, and that is discipline. Because first and foremost, most of your martial arts are a genuine form of discipline. They teach you that patience. They teach you, once again, there's that D word right there. They teach you how to keep your head on straight in the middle of a crisis circumstance. It's not necessarily, true martial arts is a methodology for bettering yourself, not just for kicking somebody else's tail.
Exactly. That was my religion. That was what we were taught, is basically make yourself whole before you can go out and help anybody else, which is different than most religions. Is, they're telling you to go and give yourself to the Lord, or give yourself and they'll make you whole. No, we were about creating the ultimate being and being strong. And once you're strong, it's like when the oxygen masks dropped in the jet when you're about ready to crash, you put your mask on first.
Exactly.
Because you have to be strong before you strap it on your child. If you try to help that child, you're going to pass out. And you have to be strong before you can go help anybody else. And that's what my sensei beat into our head, literally, is that, this is about you, and you better be the strongest one before you go and try to help anybody else. So discipline is huge for me. And then, running the school in the recent times, you tell a kid to drop and give you 50 push-ups, and he gives you the FU. I mean, I wasn't even allowed to make eye contact with my sensei, or I could get, knocked out. And now I've got a kid rolling in there telling me to, I don't know if we can say that, but he's dropping F-bombs on me when I'm telling him to give me 50 push-ups. I'm like, really? Did you just say that to me? There's the door.
I blame reality TV, and I blame MTV. Of course, I blamed MTV a long time ago. And because, see, the weird part is I'm back in high school. Actually, I'm just getting in, freshman year. And a friend of mine is studying karate. And I said, can I come along? I might be interested. And I'm watching what they go through, and it's like, this is, now for me, they were doing the basics. They were starting out with the basic stretching, loosening up, breathing. And it's like, something? This actually makes sense to me, because I realize that, they always say stretch before working out. They always say wait 30 minutes after eating before going in the pool. And why? Because you have to pace yourself. If you don't know how to breathe, you're going to go short of breath real quick. If you don't loosen your muscles, they're going to go out on you when you need them the most of the time.
Okay.
And that's why it's like I'm sitting back and I'm watching, and they're going through the basic counts, and I'm learning how to count in Japanese. For me, that was an accomplishment. I'm not ADD. I just have no attention span. There's a big difference there.
There you go.
But it's all in the presentation, the way that you allow it to be presented to you. If you go in thinking this is a discipline, you understand the concept a little bit better than, ooh, I'm going to kick somebody's backside. Guess what? It takes a long time to get to that point. And you have to be patient with yourself. And in this day and age, it is hard as hell to be patient, especially with yourself. Yeah, man, come on in. Got a question for Gordon Shell?
Well, it's more of a comment and a question, I guess, together. And I can relate a couple of things together here. I mean, it's kind of like what he's talking about with the World Series of Poker or professional wrestling, Until 2003 in the World Series of Poker, it was kind of a backroom, dirty kind of thing, until the nobody won the main event, and then it kind of exploded with people doing interviews and stuff like that. But it's kind of like wrestling and MMA too. But don't you think, the reason I'm saying is because it was backroom, let's go out back and, get the fence and beat the snot out of each other. But, I mean, don't you think you need those guys that you're talking about, like GSP, that have to do an interview to bring it from the back rooms and the dirty kind of stuff all the way into the main front for the money to get bigger? And don't you think you need those kind of guys, though, kind of in a way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have to have the good guys, you have to have the villains, and you have to have the bad guys. Absolutely. I mean, I as much as I had no respect for Tank Abbott was fun to watch in the ring, and he sold tickets. It's he is the epitome of he's an underdog. I mean, he's just a fat, sloppy guy from the street that was just a brute. had really no formal training and would go in and pick up, wait for a martial artist to do a pretty high kick, grab onto his leg, pick him up, slam him down, and then just brutalize the guy. That's fun, but I don't think those guys at the UFC level will last at all. This isn't the early days of the UFC. The early days of the UFC, you just wanted to be a big, bad dude that could grab onto somebody, and then all of a sudden Gracie steps in there and proves that you just can't be a big, bad dude. Now you have to have discipline because this little 170-pound guy is going to snap Tank Abbott's arm. Even if Tank can get a hold of Gracie, Gracie's going to crawl up on him and choke him out while Tank Abbott's trying to throw him out of the cage. So it's fun to have the gritty, dirty guys in there, but at the UFC level, those guys aren't going to last at all. I mean, it's almost Brock Lesnar had enough talent to be in there for as long as he was, but then you get him up against somebody that just has the ultimate discipline and talent, and they're not just a monster wrestler. They're rounded. They know how to kick. They know how to fight. They have endurance. They have all that, and Brock just didn't have everything, every tool that he needed. No offense to Brock. I have high respect for him. He's an amazing athlete for the size of that guy, and he was a world champion at one time, so I'm not going to put him down at all, but it's getting to be, everybody asks me nowadays, would you step in the ring with John Jones? Would you step in? I said, not even for fun, I wouldn't go against those guys. I mean, John Jones literally looks like he sharpens his elbows. I mean, his body is created for this, and I mean, he could just be playing around with you, sparring, and he's going to slice your head open with an elbow just going half speed. I don't even want to play with those guys. Yeah, it would be an honor. I've got to roll with some great guys, but at this level, they're so honed in. It's not a slugfest anymore at all. It's a real chess game. When you get the guys, like GSP, I just keep on going back to him just because I think he's so precise, or Silva or Machida. Those guys are all looking for you guys are at such a high level. They're just looking for the other guy's mistake. Right. That's all they're doing. They're just watching for, his elbow's too high, I can do this. Oh, his wrist is at the wrong angle. Because right. You know the muscle memory of the other guy's body because you know what you've trained. All you're looking for is, you saw his eyes go to the right, you know his left foot's coming. They're looking for such little things now. Tank Abbott was just looking for something to grab onto. So I don't know if that answers your question or if it's a long ramble, but yeah, it's a whole different level now.
Robert? Oh, absolutely. But basically what I was saying, and you kind of reiterated it, I think, but if it wasn't for guys like Tank Abbott, do you think guys like GSP and Anderson Silva and Machida and all those guys would have the popularity that they do now? Because Tank, like I said, like wrestlers who could wrestle help bring people in professional wrestling, but you needed guys that could talk on the microphone. I mean, you see great wrestlers that never got a major push in professional wrestling because they couldn't talk. But if it wasn't for people like Tank Abbott that did what he did, would it be at the point that it is now? Would it be as popular and as polarized and as glamorous as it is now? People like Gracie and Abbott, people like that.
Not at all, because then if it was just Gracie and GSP to start it out, that's a karate tournament. And obviously people don't pay big money to go to a high school karate tournament or even go to a karate tournament in an arena. People don't care for the traditional martial arts. They need a little bit of Hollywood and a little bit of trash talking and a little bit of big-time wrestling mixed in. I mean, that's what's happened with the UFC. The UFC has taken the best of everything. They've taken boxing, they've taken karate, and they've taken the WWE, the WWF, the characters, and they've latched a character onto a disciplined fighter, and you've got the best. I know there's reasons to go watch WWE because it's still got great entertainment, and there's still reasons to go watch boxing, but when you can see it all in one page. That's debatable. But when you can see it all in one cage, it's a whole different, why. Just wait for the next UFC to pop up or the next, Strikeforce is gone, but Bellator's growing like crazy. Glory. These guys you've got it all in one arena now. You don't have to pick a sport anymore because they're all mixed into one.
Yeah, I was making a reference during the course of the shows, and one of the ones that I've been keeping a very solid track of has been the World Series of Fighting on the NBC Sports Network. They come on every once in a while on that particular frequency, and they've worked to really build a solid core group of fighters, and they keep looking to expand and build with the different weight classes, and that's good. That's a great thing for MMA. I sit back and I look and I'm hearing the different names that y'all are throwing out there, and I noticed neither of you have made the reference to either Ken Shamrock or Dan Severn.
Well, you can put those guys in there too. Obviously, I just didn't get to those.
Oh yeah,
because
Ken Shamrock's actually in the movie with me, so we got to train with him personally. But you continue on. I just had to drop that plug in there for the movie with Ken Shamrock.
Oh no, it's perfect, because actually that's to say I'm actually heading in that direction right now. Let me go ahead and ask. Before the movie, before the challenge, there was obviously a love for animals to a great degree. First off, how many pets do you personally own, and how is there a particular breed of? I know that obviously it's going to be a dog. Is there a particular breed that you're fond of the most?
Not at all. I'm lumped in with the pit bulls just because of what I do against the dog fighters. So every picture, every promo, everything that everybody sees with me is with pit bulls. And then I'm also very active in trying to get rid of the anti-DSL laws, the breed-specific legislation that's across the country that bans pit bulls. I mean, you can set up your own pit bull rules if you own an apartment complex. You can say you can have Dobermans, Shepherds, but hey, no pit bulls are allowed in this apartment complex. So we're working really hard. Rebecca Corey's got a million pit bull march happening in May of next year. We're going to fight all that, but everybody kind of puts me in with pit bulls, but my fight is kind of led towards the pit bulls, and I'm around them so much, and I've been around thousands, literally thousands and thousands of pit bulls, some of them fighters, some of them not, and I've never been attacked. I've never felt threatened. They're an amazing breed of dog. I actually have two. I don't have two pit bulls. I've got what was supposed to be a German. Mine are both rescues, so I rescued them when they were puppies. One was supposed to be a German Shepherd, but she ended up being 22 pounds, so she's kind of a miniature version of a German Shepherd. Beautiful dog, smart. And then my other is a lab that has a little bit of pit mixed in her. She's got the pit forehead, but the rest of her is all black lab. And those are my children. I recently went through a divorce, and you can see that kind of play out in the movie. So both of my dogs are at my wife's right now, but I get full visitation anytime I want to go by there. I can see them. We're on good terms. So it kind of leaves me open to adopt, and obviously I've got thousands of dogs thrown at me constantly. So I'm just looking for that one that I get. You just got to connect. Right. And that's what I'm waiting for. Plus, I've been traveling so much. I mean, this is the very first weekend I've been home in the past 3 months, just doing movies. My promotion, I was in L.A. last week for Rebecca Corey's Stand Up for Pits, doing the red carpet there. I mean, we had Mo Collins, Whitney Cummings, Rebecca Corey, Bill Burr. I mean, it was just a who's who on a red carpet out there, all doing, raising money to stop this ban on pit bulls, and then to help fight the dog fighting epidemic. So, yeah, I have two dogs, but they're not sitting on my lap right now, unfortunately. I miss them. I don't have children. Those are my children. So it's very difficult for me to not have them around, and I will probably be adopting right around Christmas time. So I've been talking about it a lot. Now I got to just actually go out and do it. But I need to slow down before I can do that. Otherwise, it's not fair to the animal to not have me around.
Understand the concept. Robert Cosper, come on in. Question for Gordon Shell.
Is anybody going to buy the two women in a pair of handcuffs excuse?
No, we're not.
Greg, you're hanging all over our ass in here, and let's do this interview.
All right, how about the significant other? Felt like I should sleep in and didn't wake me. Let's go with that one. Guys, I apologize, seriously. Gordon, I watched the movie last night. Outstanding. Great job. Very, very good. And I was watching so much of it, and I was kind of comparing it to my two dogs. One of mine's a rescue. The other one went out and imported that problem because he is just an obnoxious 100+ pound Doberman. But my rescue is part pit and part lab, just like you said. Just mine happens to be yellow as opposed to black.
Black.
Man, incredible movie. And when you really let the point hit home with you and take in real life terms what you're doing, man, that's incredible, man. You can step in that ring and that could be the end, man. It could be over for you. That's the end of your life, and you're doing that to save the dogs, man. And that's absolutely incredible.
I actually had the studio. We didn't get to the chance to sign it, but I really wanted. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was healthy. I mean, my doctors had to sign off. Donna Friel wouldn't let me step in that cage. I wouldn't want to do that to the MMA community, to be the first guy to have a heart attack, while filming a movie in the cage. That would have just made it. I mean, Bill O'Reilly, everybody else would have been running all over with that. MMA's got to stop. John McCain would have jumped back on his soapbox. So I didn't want to take a chance on that. So I was 100% healthy when I stepped in that cage, but you never know what's going to happen. And I told the director, I want it either documented on paper or you're going to film it right now. So they turned the camera on down in the locker room, and I basically told them, if anything happens to me in that cage, keep the cameras rolling. We have to finish this. And I wasn't trying to be a hero. It was a little bit of greed. I was married at the time. We don't, this is an independent film. We don't know how much money it's going to make, but I just kept on referring to the movie Grizzly Man, that movie about the hippie that went out in the woods and lived with the grizzlies, and at the end the grizzlies ate him, and it was a hit movie, and nobody would have run and watched that movie if that guy wouldn't have got eaten at the end. Nobody wants to see a guy run around the woods with a bunch of bears being crazy, smoking dope, but he got ate at the end, and that made that movie the biggest hit. And I just figured if I do go out, I'm not allowed to have life insurance because I'm a mixed martial arts fighter, a whole nother topic. But my wife would be left with nothing. So I just said, if I'm going out, you keep filming this. You finish this film, my wife becomes, the benefactor of my share of the film, and this is going to be a hit. If somebody knows that I died in the ring for the dogs, who isn't going to watch that? So I wasn't hoping for it, but you could go out as big as how can you go out any bigger unless it was with handcuffs and whatever you were doing last night? I don't think it gets any bigger than that. So, that was the goal of it. And obviously I look at the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler, and how it ended, to have the drama of an ending like that would made the movie we expect is going to be a hit anyhow, but that's just an overnight success, a box office smash that everybody talks about if I would have went out that way. So you never know on the sequel. Could be I'm getting older.
Now, do me a favor. Let everybody know the easy way that they can see the new movie.
It's available right now. It's an online service. It's called Vimeo, Vimeo.com, and you just search for the Dogfighter movie, or we have a website. It's www.thedogfightermovie.com, and then there's a Facebook page, thedogfightermovie.com. So just keep on remembering the Dogfighter movie and Google it, and you'll find it. But it's available on Vimeo. It's $5 rental, and then we've chosen 5 different rescues. And then we also have the Michigan Humane Societies in the movie. Mark Ramos from Animal Cops Detroit from the Animal Planet works for Michigan Humane Society. So you'll see him and I out on calls with the dogs. Ken Shamrock's in the movie. But because Mark and the Humane Society did such a big part of the movie for us, we're automatically giving them a pretty good percentage of all the proceeds. And then the rest go to the other rescues that we have on the list. And then every 3 months we will change out that list of rescues, and the next list of rescues will get the benefit of the money coming in from the movie. So we're trying to spread a message, but we didn't want to just put out a free movie there to spread a message. We think there's more value to spreading the message and also taking in funds so we can actually help these shelters survive and help guys like Mark Ramos keep his job so we can go out there and fight these guys. And then I own 6 bulletproof vests. Those are $800 a piece.
Yeah.
Those are we have to be able to finance these so we don't get killed out there. Because if you watch the movie, you saw that these dogs are worth $10, $20, $30,000 each. When I run into the yard and snatch that guy's dog, he's firing at me. So they don't like those. We couldn't show any of them in the movie because we were working directly with the Humane Society. And you heard them say, hey, if nobody calls us, we'll come back and take these dogs. You can't take the dog unless the owner surrenders it. But in the dark of night, you sure can. And that isn't through the Humane Society. That's just through the dumb fighter mentality that I have. If I know somebody's beating their wife, I can't do anything to you in front of the cops, but you know what? I'm going to come back and make sure your wife's safe when the cops aren't around.
I know that you said you've got a project coming up at the top of the hour, but I want to go one more time around the horn real quick because I want to go ahead and take the point on one of the other major topics that has been definitely keeping your name in the headlines. Hitman, come on back in one more round.
Well, I just want to say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, my wife's a veterinarian tech, and we have adopted rescues at my house, and she deals with rescues all over the state. I respect immensely what you do, so I just want to thank you for that.
Appreciate
also,
that.
and all your promotional videos, if you're up there with a Chihuahua and a Rat Terrier, it's hard to look hard, so that's why you're always up there with pit bulls.
Exactly. Yeah, but there's plenty of pictures of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and his dog probably weighs about 4 pounds.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he still looks like a bad mother standing next to that dog. So everybody tells me if you can't get a dog because you're traveling, you know what? Dwayne Johnson travels with his dog, and I think it's a mini pincher or something. But you know what? That's always an option for me. A dog is a dog to me. I mean, they all have personality. They all have feelings. And they all bring you comfort, and they love you no matter what. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much hair you have, or if you're in shape or out of shape. You walk through that front door, that dog doesn't care. That dog's just happy to see you. So if I could find a woman like that, I'd be all set. But I just got to stick to dogs right now.
Yeah, good luck there.
Cosper, come on in one more round with Gordon Shell.
Oh man, I just want to tell you the movie well worth the $5. Also on Vimeo. Now how I found it was I typed in Dog Fighter and it took you to the trailer. And if you watch the trailer, it will give you an automatic link to the movie, so it's very easy to find on there.
Yes, it is.
And honestly, you covered one of my questions because I was going to ask you. I was watching you guys doing the rescue in the movie, or the different rescues and going out on calls, and I was like, man, why are they wearing vests? So that cured that.
At the Humane Society, our entire film crew, sound guys, lighting, camera guys, the director, they strapped us in vests. And I'm in the city of Detroit. I mean, I don't care what you're doing down there. You're going down to see the opera. I recommend just wearing a vest.
Yeah.
It's just they're shooting people for fun down there right now. So not a place to be, and especially not a place to be when you're going down to snap somebody's dog. So they all suit up. The entire crew at the Humane Society, any of the guys that I run out with at night, we have full bulletproof with stab protection. We're not taking any chances. They shot me in the chest January 3rd of this year 3 times, and if I wouldn't have had that, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
We're thankful that you're on with us, and we're thankful you survived that. I want to ask real quick, how are you set for time? Do you have a few more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
I think I've still got another 15 before I go on with Foster.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Like I said, I know that you said you've got something coming up just after the top of the hour, and we're going to let you talk about that on the way out. Now, we are based in Alabama, which, if you know anything, well, you're based out of Michigan, so you've got, the Wolverines and the Spartans as one of the major rivalries in college sports, especially. Down here, we've got Alabama and Auburn, and UAB trying to find the right coach to get into the mix, but that'll take another 10 decades. A lot of people put football players on that. Yeah, well, I can dream, Ryan. Leave me alone. A lot of people put football players on that immortal pedestal. And whether they be defensive line, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, quarterback.
Why does nobody put the lineman on that pedestal?
Cornelius Bennett,
if it wasn't
Steve
for the
Berline.
lineman, all them other guys wouldn't be squat.
And for the record, For the record, Corso picked Alabama. Guess what? He's going to get another W in that win column. Sorry, I'm an Alabama fan down here. Roll Tide.
It's coming from a man who was more worried about Tennessee than apparently he is from LSU. So, anyway.
Oh no, I'm worried about LSU. I'm saying LSU by 1 touchdown at the most. But we digress. Let's stick with the format. We'll talk about football in a few minutes.
Format? What's that?
I don't talk about football. It's a dangerous sport. I stick to MMA. I want to stay where I'm safe.
There you go.
Wow.
That will be a soundbite to be used later in promos, folks. But seriously, especially quarterbacks have a tendency to be put on that pedestal. And the reason why I say quarterbacks in particular, we all know of a circumstance that took place, and a lot of people who haven't followed you, Gordon, aren't going to know about this. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay it out there for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people may not remember, especially if they have short-term memory, and especially in this culture they do, the factor that Michael Vick, former quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, now, of course, on the disabled list from the Philadelphia Eagles,
yes, sir,
was found guilty of trafficking dogs for fighting purposes, for owning dogs for fighting purposes, and for providing the venue for pit bull fighting and dog fighting. A lot of people, myself included, felt that logistically he got off way too lightly because of the fact that he is a star quarterback in the NFL, or was a star quarterback, still is. And you have done something that a lot of us would love to be able to do.
Haven't got to do it yet, but we're there.
Well, you have laid out the challenge, and it has been a sustained challenge to Michael Vick to meet you in an MMA cage, in an octagon, in a hexagon. It doesn't matter if it's 6 or 8 sides. You have laid out that invitation with a special purpose behind it. If you would, go ahead and lay it out there for the audience to hear.
Well, basically, when he was caught, I was in the rescue business and had dogs of my own, and it was at the same time that in my neighborhood they were coming through, the dog fighters, and they would tag your fence. So they would have a lead truck come through, and there would just be somebody who's walking through innocently in your neighborhood, and they would actually put a piece of tape on your fence, and that meant there was a dog in that backyard. And then the rest of the crew would come along later with a van or a truck, and they would jump that fence and take your dog, and your dog becomes a bait dog. So I was alerted to that at the same time that the Vic story was coming out, and if you ever notice, I'm a little bit vigilant. And I said, there's just no way this is going to happen. And my dogs have a doggy door, and I wasn't going to shut down my life and lock my dogs in the house. I mean, I want them to be able to run around in my backyard. So I watched closely for that day when that piece of tape went up on my fence, and I knew they were coming through, and I was alerted it was a white van, and I chased them down, and I never caught them. But that just sent me into an absolute rage, and I said, listen, if I ever get the chance, this is Michael Vick has taught these guys how to do this. Not necessarily taught them, because it's a traditional thing. It was a gentleman's sport that the white guys did back in the cotton days, and I'm not even going to call it a gentleman's sport. It was still brutal to the dogs. But Vic took it to another level because he put it out there and was financing these high-end fights with hundreds and hundreds of dogs. And he took it to another level because if those dogs didn't win or they didn't perform properly, then he tortured them. So not only was he fighting a dog, he was torturing them for entertainment, hanging them, electrocuting them, drowning them, shooting them so where they wouldn't die, they would struggle, and then they would just target practice this dog as it tried to get away. And that's not rumor, that's fact. He testified to doing that. He testified to grabbing one dog. He grabbed one end of the dog. His partner grabbed the other end of the dog, the legs, treated it like a jump rope, and bounced it off the concrete while the dog screamed until it died. Those images are forever embedded on all of our heads that are in the animal rescue.
Yeah.
And then he goes away to prison. He did do 18 months in prison, but he's an all-star athlete. I'm sure he wasn't in solitude or whatever, and I don't have any facts on where he was kept in the prison house. But the fact that he got out, he was making $12 million a year to throw a football again, and he's out there writing books called Redemption, saying that he redeemed himself and finally free, and telling everybody to leave him alone and everything else, and then all these other people jumping on going, oh, he paid his dues. No, so many people want an eye for an eye, and we obviously can't hang him, electrocute him, drown him, do anything like that legally.
Damn.
But what I thought of, and it was one of my students that brought it up one day when we were sitting in class, and they said, why don't you call him out? You're such a tough guy. And he was joking with me. He goes, tell him you want to fight him in the cage. I said, I'd take him in the cage any day. I don't care what type of athlete he is. And my student says, oh, settle down, old man. I said, really? And that's when I, back in around 2009, we just started hitting every avenue I could find, his publicist, PR person, managers, anything I could get an email to. I was just sending an open letter with a proposal. And my proposal is, step into the cage, make this an event, a pay-per-view event that you got a built-in audience. Vic's got millions of fans that would love to see me get my ass kicked because they think I'm a punk chasing him. I've gotten tons of hate mail. I've been called a racist. Why am I not beating up Rothsberger for raping a woman? That's not my cause. Rape is horrible, but that's not my cause. My cause is dogfighting, and Mike Vick is the face of dogfighting. So I presented it as, put him in the ring. We'll do amateur-style rules, 9 minutes. We're going to do three-minute rounds, so he doesn't even have to have extraordinary cardio. No offense to football players, but they run full speed for 45 seconds, then they get 3-minute break. We're the opposite. We go full speed for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we get a 1 minute break. So I think I can beat him cardio-wise, no problem. But let's dumb down the rounds to 3 minutes. 3-minute rounds with referees, with doctors, with audience, with my 3 million fans and his 20 million fans, whatever he's got.
Right.
We've got an instant success at $5 or $9.99 pay-per-view. I'm not going to get UFC money. We're not getting $50 for this thing, but $9.99. We put some other decent names on the card, and we make this the main event. And we will net close to $5 million. After the promoters take their money and everything else, we'll net $5 million that we can turn around and hand back to the cause. I don't want a penny for this fight. Obviously, I'll get, whatever merchandising. I'll get something for it. I'm not a saint. But to walk in the cage, I do not want a penny to fight that man. But it gives, and people say, why would he do this? Why would he want to be put in there? He's going to lose. And B, why would he want to be thrown back into the dogfighting genre? He's never gotten out of that. Nobody believes that he's gone out of that. So there's millions of people that are going to continue to hate him. This is an opportunity for him to step up and say, okay, listen, guys, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to fight this guy. I'm going to bleed. I'm fighting against my will like I did to the dogs. So you got that from me. Gordon's going to slug me in the face. I know I'm going to hit him at least once, maybe that's all it takes. But I'm going to try to do whatever I can to him. And I don't fight angry. I am a disciplined, I'm a traditional martial artist. I go in there with a calm head, and I'm going in there to fight. I'm going in there to win. I'm not going in there to gouge his eyes out, and I'm not going in there to break his arms like everybody wants me to do. And we're going to fight. And at the end of the fight, I've presented it to him this way. At the end of the fight, win or lose, if he knocks me out, I knock him out, or however it ends, I take the microphone at the end, and I tell the audience that's watching, the arena and all the pay-per-view people, I say, listen, people, we don't have to forgive this man. We don't have to forget what he did. But I'm going to use the title of both of his books. He has stepped into this cage to attempt to redeem himself.
Right.
So let's give him that, and let's finally let him be free. Let him go. I've got $3 million in my hand right now that I'm going to take to dog rescues, and it's because he stepped in here and stood up and fought me. And then I can hand the microphone to him, and if he chooses to say, I am sorry, or whatever he decides to say, it's up to him. If he's smart enough, he might just raise his hand and say, thank you, let me be free, here's $3 million, go save some dogs. That should get, if I get 1 million people to back off of his Facebook page. I mean, his page gets blown up every day. It is some freedom. I'm offering him some freedom, but the main thing is, look at what we would accomplish for the dogs. What other event can you think of that would generate $3 to $5 million for our cause in 9 minutes? I mean, it would be unheard of. and we could do this easily. And there's so many people that would back this up, and there's promoters that are just salivating over it right now.
Oh, you're speaking to and I know my cohorts are going to give me crap in the next segment for this, but I tell you what, if this does come to light, I would love to be the one to either do some kind of commentary, or at least the ring announcing for it. I would fly myself up there for this.
I would too.
I don't know where we'd do it. Obviously, I love Las Vegas. I want to see my lights on the Las Vegas, my name up in lights on the Las Vegas Strip. But Mr. Donofrio here in Detroit, he's always treated me well, and he has access to the Palace of Auburn Hills where the Pistons play and Kid Rock plays. And
ooh, nice.
I mean, we've got 40,000 seats there. How much? 30,000, 40,000 seats there. We can do it. I fought there in 2010. We could put it in the middle of that. And make a huge gate sales. I mean, gate sales alone would be a huge contribution. But to do a pay-per-view, which is very simple to do, at $9 a piece, or even if we did $5 a piece, it would be unheard of money. And if VIX people say, we can't take that chance, he can't come in and fight for free, he's an athlete. You know what? Then we take $1 million of that and hand him a paycheck. And nobody needs to know about it. I'm announcing it right now, but if that's what they chose to do, we would not announce that he got paid to do this. We still want to give him an opportunity. We just need him in that cage. We need an opportunity to draw blood. But we're not drawing blood. I've shut down his Barnes & Noble book tour, myself and a whole group of people, because every time he was going to show up at a Barnes & Noble to sign a book in Atlanta, animal groups would put together money and send me round-trip tickets and say, Gordon, come on down and get a book signed. And then they would blow that up on the Internet, and then he would cancel. We canceled 3 of his cities, and finally Barnes & Noble dropped him. So then he decided he's going to do autograph sessions at BW3's, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Right. And
$75 a piece, you can go get his autograph. You know what? BW3's got millions of hits on their Facebook page, on their website, with hate mail, and then here I was going down there to meet him to get an autograph. Guess what? Canceled. So we're just kind of taking the steps to piss him off a little bit. Make him want to fight me. He knows who I am. The Huffington Post reporter went up to his manager and said, is he going to fight Gordon Schell or not? And his manager said, he's concentrating on the Denver game right now. He doesn't have time to think about this guy. Well, he lost to Denver 52-20, so obviously I think it might have gotten to his head, or else he just sucks. I mean, he's never going to step foot on the Eagles field again. There's many articles about that. I mean, Foles jumped up and has a 98.1% rating right now as a quarterback.
Yeah.
Why would he put Vic back in? He's got a losing record right now, and he's hurt.
The same
He's on a major downslide, so his career's over. It's an opportunity for him to do one last thing.
You mentioned quarterbacks. The same reason why Rex Ryan had this love affair with Sanchez for the longest time up in New York. Gee, what a surprise! And I'll sit back and say this. I don't know. I'm of the school of thought. I've watched Vic progress and regress. He was a good quarterback at one point in time, but he put his body through way too much. He took way too many unnecessary risks in order to try to do things. And the mark of a true quarterback, I mean, high school, college, pro, doesn't matter. Even CFL and arena football. With no disrespect to CFL and arena, I've watched both of those, and they're a lot of fun to watch. And no, I'm not just covering my tracks on that. There is a line that you have to draw. It's like, this is what I'm willing to do, to win a regular season game. It's different if it's the Super Bowl or the playoffs. That is an entirely different animal, but he just took, so to speak, he just took way too many chances as a quarterback, and his body is paying the price, and still the Eagles organization just continued to throw money at him. It's like, look, I wish I could find a company dumb enough to just throw money at me for no reason.
Oh, yeah. And you look at he literally got Andy Reid fired. And Andy Reid goes on to Kansas City, and what's Kansas City doing now?
9-0.
So did the Eagles make the right decision there? I mean, that's crazy.
See, that's going to be a horse of a different color, so to speak. I know we're talking dogs, but I got to mention the horse reference too. And speaking of, before I go any further, and I know that we're headed for the wrap point, I say this from the bottom of my heart. First off, for everything that you are working to accomplish and have accomplished, thank you. It is appreciated. When my wife and I first got together, she had a 2-year-old, actually just under 2-year-old, husky that was a shelter rescue. And that dog right now is close to 16 years of age. Still feels like she's a 49-pound lap dog and a puppy all at the same time. Spry for her age, which I've been told about. Different story. But here's the thing. There was a phrase that went around for years, folks. It's called, and it's still around to a limited degree. Don't shop, adopt.
Exactly.
Because you can and you will find at your local animal shelters some of the coolest that you will ever find. Now, here's the scoop, and this is going to be really bad for PetSmart and companies like this. I know that the pets that they have are in a controlled environment. The air conditioning, the heating, the regular water, the regular food. The shelters of themselves need help. Your local animal shelter needs help. And you can help in one of two ways. You can go and you can make a donation to the Shelter Pet Project or your local animal shelter. It's like in our home area, the Jefferson County area, in my home area, the Shelby County area, we both have shelters that we can actually do things with. And if you can make a monetary donation, make it. If 100 people gave $5, that's $500, and that will help feed and take care of a number of animals for a period of time. But if you have the home and the resources and the time, there's that key word. Drop by, because if you just want to go rescue an animal from a shelter, but you work 2 jobs and you're never there, you're doing yourself and that pet a disservice. But if you feel that you can spend quality time with a dog, with a cat, with a boa constrictor, with a gerbil, with a falcon, wear a glove. Drop by your local pet shelter. I guarantee you, you will find the pet of your dreams under that roof. In addition to the movie and the challenge, and of course you said that you are still sensei. For the record, in your area, if there are those who would like to possibly champion the cause of learning mixed martial arts and picking it up for more than just a hobby, or as a hobby, how can they get in touch with you in the dojo?
Actually, I sold my school off, but I work closely with Don Richards and Brendan Seguin. Those were my coaches that you see in the movie, and they both have dojos here. Don Richards, world champion jiu-jitsu, world champion king of the cage. Probably one of between him and Brendan, that's why I chose him as my final coaches. 2 of the toughest guys I've ever met. Brendan Seguin's fought Strikeforce, Bellator, fought some of the top UFC guys, and he was my striking and endurance coach. Don was my Brendan, my inspiration coach too. But Don, same thing. But Don is inspiration and probably one of the toughest jiu-jitsu guys I've ever met. And true black belt jiu-jitsu. He's Miles Jury. Miles is undefeated in the UFC right now. He was on the season 10 with Brock Lesnar, and he blew his knee out in that season. Ouch. And Dana White told him right there, "You're coming back," and he did. And he came back, and he's now undefeated in the UFC. And that's one of Don's students that he brought up from when he was 10 years old. So, these 2 guys fuse MMA and Devastation Athletics here in Michigan, right in the Metro Detroit area. Both awesome gyms. I used to own 4 Aces Fight Club, but with my divorce and everything else I've got going on, I have a real career during the day where I travel the world. I just didn't have time to run everything, so I kind of had to let it go.
And what upcoming appearances have you got on the horizon?
Oh boy, I'm everywhere. It's even tough to keep up. Now I draw a blank too many times in the head, but I just did the Bully Walk in Indiana 2 weeks ago. I did stand up for Pits with Rebecca Corey last week in L.A. I'd like to get back out to L.A. I'm getting ready to go live with Foster Quarter right now. He is the director. He directed all the MC Hammer videos and worked on some awesome projects. And he's creating a movie called Conversations with a Pit Bull. So it's kind of the Green Mile meets Look Who's Talking. So it's going to be 10 dogs on death row, and it's an amazing story. And he's asked me to star in it with him. Nice. I'm actually taking the role that Michael Clark Duncan was supposed to play before he passed. So pretty amazing for me. I get to play the big dumb musclehead with a heart of gold. So it fits well. And it's going to be amazing. So I've got to go back out to LA, do that. We'll probably do some more promotions while I'm in LA for this current movie. And then I've just been asked to come to a million places. I do Silver Linings Pit Bulls over in Buffalo the beginning of the year. They do a big benefit, gets about 900 people. Baltimore Bully Crew does an amazing benefit called Tits for Pits, but it's in a topless bar, and they get about 600 people in there.
We're there.
$30 a pop for the dogs.
We're there.
Yeah. Give us the address to that.
Yeah, and Google Maps navigation. Hey, what time? And is there a cover charge or an uncover charge?
Yeah, it's amazing. So I mean, I'm pulled in a million different directions right now. I love it. I'm getting a little bit tired, but it's all good stuff though. The travel gets a little overwhelming at points, but you know what? I can't complain about anything. I'm just a fighter from Detroit with a love for dogs, and it's put me out there in the spotlight. And I think every kid dreams of that, to be able to go out there and do that and stand on a red carpet with top stars. And Chael Sonnen has tweeted about me when we started the movie. There's Frank Trigg. And all these guys have supported me. Pat Miletich was amazing support through this movie. He was actually going to come in and corner me, but he had he was still commentating for Strikeforce at the time when my fight happened, so he couldn't make it out. It's just an amazing ride. Ken Shamrock's in the movie with me. To meet my legends and know that they support me, that's just amazing for me. So I still got to go somewhere with Randy Couture. He's one of my favorites. Being an older fighter like me, the longevity that he had, and just the sheer, he's one of those guys that has respect too. He wasn't a disciplined martial artist, but amazing wrestler that respected the sport, never acted up, always showed respect for his opponents. And then, I give him amazing respect for doing what he did to James Toney, because I had so many boxing people being from Motown, Detroit here, with Tommy Hearns just telling me, Gordon, you're about to learn a horrible lesson about MMA. Tony's going to come in and beat up your hero, Randy Couture, and you saw what happened there. So, I want to hug that guy forever just because he's just an amazing character for me.
Very much so. How can people keep track? Website, social media?
Yeah, my Facebook page is just Gordon Shell, and then I'm on Instagram, gshell661. My Twitter is Gordon Shell, or hashtag Gordon Shell or at Gordon Shell.
At Gordon Shell.
I'm sorry. My Twitter is hashtag gshell661, I believe. I've got some of the social media, Facebook's the easiest way to find me. I live on Facebook, unfortunately. It's an addiction. You can find me there. Just go to Gordon Shell or the Dogfighter movie page. We've got our own page on Facebook for the movie. There is a page on there, Gordon Shell versus Michael Vick. It's got almost 6,000 followers right now. So
needs about 3 more zeros on that number.
You can find me. Google my name. It's pretty fun. I Google myself about once a week just to see what's happening. I've heard stories. It's the whole Chuck Norris joke. Somebody wrote on there, I watched Gordon Shell choke a guy out in 3 seconds in Indiana. I never choked a guy out in 3 seconds in Indiana, so I don't know where he's got that story. But Google yourself ever so often just to see what people are saying about you. At least it's all positive so far.
Very cool. Gordon, I want to go ahead and say this. Brother, the door's open anytime. Upcoming projects, please keep us in the loop. Love to have you come back on sometime.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys helping us out with the movie, helping us promote, and hopefully everybody will come there and watch it and help us contribute to the dogs and I don't know, give me another 14 minutes of fame and I'll keep doing what I do.
Not a problem. We're here for you, guaranteed. Ladies and gentlemen, our very special guest at this time, Gordon Shell, has just gone Beyond Ringside. Hang with us. The Saturday Showcase continues right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Welcome to the original rock and wrestling radio show. Welcome to Beyond Ringside. your source for wrestling, MMA, and boxing in the Southeast. To contact the Ringside Roundtable of Beyond Ringside, email them at beyondringside@gmail.com. And now, your host for Beyond Ringside, the man, no myth, all legend, Fast Eddie Layne.
Going at 28 minutes until the top of the hour. Yes, we are on the Saturday Showcase on this 9th date of November. Actually, segment 3, that was the wrong show open, but by the same token, it was supposed to be hour 2. I apologize. Mike Macaroni, thank you for the intro. Always a pleasure. Fast Eddie Layne, live from Studio 1, welcoming in tag team partners, the Hitman, Ryan Adcock. What's up, buddy?
Oh, same old, same old. You do realize that now we have to run over, and you're bothering my game.
You interrupted my hamburger.
It's on your hamburger. Auburn's playing.
I want my hamburger. I feel like I should be doing a really bad Jack Nicholson from Days Gone By and Robin Williams. I want my blank Oreos. Cause and effect, Robert Cosper. What's up, brother?
Me, barely.
You barely.
I got the old Pearl Harbor job. I'm a little late today.
The question for the day. Brought this one out a little bit earlier. If you had the sit-down conversation with Vince McMahon, Triple
You
A.
brought this out earlier when?
I sent it to you in text.
You didn't send me no text.
Earlier this week. Check your numbers.
A negative, sir. I haven't got a text from you. The only thing I got was about the interview.
Yeah, then it must not have gone through properly.
Yeah, he's been.
What you're failing to say is you mentioned this on the To Be Determined show. You didn't tell us.
Yeah, he thought about telling us.
No, I sent it to the two.
Exactly.
I sent it to the two of you in a text, and Cosper responded.
I've got to go check. Look, your text. I've got to the point every time you send me a text message, it costs me another damn $50.
As the commercial says, for God's sakes, close an app.
Close an app. There you go.
Oh yeah, I'm about ready to close the Eddie Layne app. Yeah, I just got my mixing board last week, and
That's a big ass app to close.
There you go.
No
And it gets bigger every week too.
Yeah, yes it does.
That's what she said. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I'll go ahead and lay this one out there, finishing up the point and the question. If you had the opportunity for a sit-down conversation with Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon-Levesque, or Triple H, what would be the one thing that you would dare WWE to do?
Well, he actually did send me this one. He's right. I replied to this.
Yes,
I didn't get this, I promise. I heard it on To Be Determined, but I didn't get no text message. Anyway, I digress.
I've honestly got to put some thought to it. Because, when you say dare and you throw in Stephanie, I've got to clean up my reply.
I'm going to go ahead and take mine point blank. That way y'all can't say I stole your answers.
You already did. You stole mine. I'm sure I texted it to you.
Yeah. The first thing that I would dare WWE to do, drop Raw to 2 hours.
Agreed.
The reason being, during the Monday Night Wars, remember WCW tried that 3-hour crap and it didn't fly. I know the USA Network wants 3 hours from WWE because the ratings are still technically solid.
But falling.
But the fact of the matter is, in my book, as someone who has programmed a television or helped to program a television show before and has worked in production on a television show, pro wrestling,
That's scary.
not sports entertainment, but pro wrestling. Sorry if I offended everybody. Thanks for playing. Glad to see I can still get the crap right. Your product is diluted, and and I'm going to bring back these two words. And sorry, Trigger. I'm going to beat the dead horse. You're relying too much on forced drama and not enough organic. Plain and simple.
Just from a layman's terms, let me make sure I got this right. What you're saying is if you went back to 2 hours, you wouldn't have to go to commercial right in the middle of your payoff at the end of your show, like they did last week.
But you cannot consistently every week put out 3 hours of quality wrestling television without just recycling, which I understand pro wrestling is recycling.
Of course, pro wrestling is the most environmentally friendly and green industry on the planet. God knows we recycle.
Yeah,
look at TNA.
You can't do that every week.
Basically, they're 3 hours, right? Right?
Yes.
Let's see, they've got a grand total of 7 hours of programming.
Okay, well, let's just talk about Monday Night Raw.
Raw's technically like an hour and 27 minutes because I do the condensed Hulu version.
Hour 43, yeah.
But even if you don't go with the Hulu version, you go with what's originally on Raw before they cut it down. Basically, you're talking about an hour and 20 minutes worth of wrestling time. It's all replays and freaking commercials.
Yeah, because on my Hulu and honestly, that's why I prefer it on Hulu. Yeah, you get commercial breaks, but your commercial breaks are like 30 seconds, 45 seconds. That's
Amen.
And it takes out the crap, the filler that's making that third hour. You know what I mean?
Your main event storyline that you've been pushing for 3 months is supposedly coming to a head at the end, the payoff, the last 15, 20 minutes of Raw this week, and you cut to 2 different commercials in the middle of it?
Yep.
Give me a break.
That's not how you do it. But I mean, commercials in live pro wrestling has gotten progressively worse over the past 10 years.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, used to, this is old days, you would get a main event, no commercial. Now, you might go to a commercial break right before, and, you'd be butting up against the end of your time slot by the time the match was over, But I thought that sold better. Now, it's like you said, you'll be mid-match. We'll be back after this break. And now you're squeezing in 2 commercials.
Even if it wasn't a main event. I mean, back in the day, like we were talking about, if the match was going on, you didn't go to commercial. You may go before and after.
Yes, yeah, you didn't go during the match. And now we go during the match.
Especially like you said, you wouldn't go to the main event.
No, main event's what you've been teasing the whole show. This is why you should be watching our show, and then you throw in commercials.
I couldn't count on my hands and toes how many times I've heard JR or whoever say, "We've taken our last commercial break, and you'll see this main event live."
And that I used to enjoy that. That actually built a little bit. We've had our last commercial break. We've got permission from the network to run over. We're gonna stay with this. I mean, that makes you. Okay, this is a good match. This is what I want to see. That gets you into it. Yeah, you go to commercial. You just anything you built leading into that match. Yeah, you snatch it away and then
okay. Let me jump in because I've got to say this, and this is the context in which I've got to run with this. For years, WWE announcers have made the comment. WCW announcers, ROH announcers. It doesn't matter. World class. Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, all of the above, Championship International.
Ring Honor's really not good announcers. Kevin Kelly's okay, but he's overrated.
Very, very, very overrated.
If you count Carino and McGinnis as announcers, you kiss my ass.
Yeah, but we just got the that's a friend. Shut up. That's what he said. That was he's throwing in there. Sorry.
I didn't say you.
No, I'm talking about Eddie.
No, I'm talking about him. I didn't say he wasn't a good announcer.
I'm trying to GPS my way to my point.
Yeah, whatever. You didn't bring me on here for my good looks.
Yeah, we did.
Sure did. That's why you're on radio.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
For as much fun as the show is to watch on television, for as good as it is to see on television, there is nothing like, here is your key phrase, there is nothing like being here live. Sure. Understand the dynamic and the concept. Television is about P&L. It's about ratings. It's about profit. It's about advertisers. It's about focus groups. It's about numbers. It is a business more than anything else. Excuse me. Actually, hold that drink. Hold that drink. Hold that drink. You can't do that one on this one because I didn't say wrestling and business in the same sentence. So, and that was an example, not a statement. Television is a business. Putting a show on television is a business. Even doing public service announcements is a business. Being at the event live. Remember, SmackDown was recently in our home market of Birmingham, Alabama.
You know what, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I was there for that.
I know, I've heard the stories.
Which you told me a week before you weren't going.
I wasn't. I was invited last minute. So there.
And he went and snubbed people, from what I've read on Facebook. But that's another argument.
Shut up.
No, what do you mean? Did you hear he was going? I didn't either.
No, exactly.
Once again,
There may be, where there's smoke, there's fire. There's truth to these rumors now.
go back to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not even awake yet.
There you go.
Damn, what he's trying to admit is the truth hurts.
What we talk about on television and what we talk about at live shows is two totally different animals. People will sit back, and we're guilty of this too. We will sit back and we will discuss the factor, oh, this was it was a 3-segment match on television, which meant at the show itself, if you were sitting in the audience, that was a 20-minute match.
Which is what you would want to see if you're sitting in the audience.
Correct.
That doesn't take commercial breaks.
Correct. You don't do commercial breaks at the live events, at the house shows, or at the television tapings. They don't stop the action in the ring. They may go for a rest hold or 4, but by the same token, being there live, yes, is much better than being in front of your television. Granted, you can DVR it. Granted, you can pause it. You can rewind it. You can even mute it sometimes, especially when Layfield says the same thing 3 times in 1 minute, which is more than my record is. Don't even say it.
Damn it.
Okay. Damn it.
Damn. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm biting my tongue over here.
So we can only expect, and this, I hate to sound like I'm settling on this, and I hate to sound like a pacifist on this, but honestly, when it comes to the televised product, you can only expect so much because they are trying to make money.
But in that process of making money, you want to make it as entertaining as possible on television because you're always selling your next show. Your current show you've already sold. You're selling your next one or your next pay-per-view, however you want to say it.
Correct. You are trying to maintain that interest in the product to where people will tune in next week or buy the pay-per-view, which is an entirely different animal. Sorry, and I have to say this. The second thing that I would dare WWE to do is to drop 4 pay-per-views and turn them into pay-per-views.
Amen.
Lower overhead, lower cost, lower BS. Well, actually, it can be a lot more BS depending on where you're doing the iPay-per-view from. Because God knows we've had a number of them where they've lost signal, where the signal's been weak, where the production has been off. But I seriously have I have no reservation when I make the statement that when WWE does iPay-per-view, which remember, you can see them online and on the tablet, therefore, guess what? They're already there.
Yes. Yeah, iPay-per-view, I've been screaming this. Eddie, you and I have talked about it several times. iPay-per-view is it's not a perfect market. But, man, it's got the potential to explode. I don't know why everybody is not doing it. It should be. It's easy. It's convenient. It's right there. You can sell it right now because iPay-per-view is a new market. You can sell it at a lower cost. You don't have to have these jacked up buy rates or jacked up prices for pay-per-views like WWE has right now. Their pay-per-views are too expensive.
Yes, they are.
For what your buy rates are going down because nobody cares because you can predict what's going to happen 95% of the time on their pay-per-views and just watch on Monday Night Raw and you'll be exactly right.
No, and you just said the right words, Monday Night Raw. You watch a 3-hour pay-per-view, you are watching the same damn length as a Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
And
they haven't put a pay-per-view together in 6 months that's any better than any Monday Night Raw they've done.
With the exception of possibly Mania for a couple of the matches. But
that was more than 6 months ago.
Barely, but yeah.
May, June, July, August, September, October. 7 months, yeah.
Okay,
you got the window. You got the window.
I can add, sir.
Well, I know that. I went to Pleasant Grove. I can't. Leave me alone. And I took the shot at myself.
Good, because I was about to take it right back.
Because on the pay-per-views now, you will have 1, 2, 3 60-second commercials. Tennessee just scored. Sorry. Shoot the balls. As it stands, yeah, we can get into that pay-per-view thing up one side and down the other, but I think I've given y'all enough leeway time. I'm going to go to Cosper. What would you dare WWE to do in that sit-down conversation?
I would definitely drop Raw. or to drop Raw to 2 hours. I agree with that. Man, I would almost kind of dare them to bump main event. Either drop the show or put some high quality stuff on there. Make that hour worth watching. Because right now it's not. You forget it's a good, huh?
It's worthless.
Yeah, it is. So take it, because usually when I see a wrestling company add another show, especially when it's a 1 hour show, I'm like, this could be really, really good, or it could be complete and total crap. And that's where we're at. It's complete crap. You had an NWA main event and a WCW main event. Now, when it first started, it was good. But then it went to just, there's really no point in watching. I'm going to fall asleep because it's going to suck. Man, take that hour. I would take that 1 hour.
And make it NXT.
Yeah, man. If you made NXT, I don't think it'd be a smart business move to make NXT readily available to the public, because if you're geeks like us, NXT is great. It could actually hurt Raw. It hurt their ratings. NXT is good if you appreciate wrestling like we do. But man, just take you that 1 hour show and make some good matches. Really sell your story. It's midweek. If you're a wrestling person, you can base your week on Monday and Thursday, and then roll in your Friday. But your Friday numbers are going to be great because people are not always going to be home in front of their TV. But man, make that 1 hour action packed to where you're really selling your story. Right. That's what I would dare them to do.
Hitman.
I got a couple things, and I know I'm a bigger fan of this era than you are.
Yes, you are.
But go back and have the courage to let your wrestlers build their own characters, like they did in the Attitude Era. Let them cut their own promos. Don't script it for them. Let them be who they are. Quit trying to make them somebody else. Perfect example is Curtis Axel. Quit trying to make him his grandfather. Quit trying to make him his dad. Let him be his own guy. Let him come out and cut their own promos. Quit trying to force feed the drama. Let it, like Eddie said earlier, let it organically materialize. Let it build for months, and let the payoffs be huge like they used to be. Quit trying to ram these orchestrated angles down our throats, and then when they don't work, rip them right out from under us, and then go to something else. That would be what I do. Let them be characters again.
I don't see what the harm would be in taking that first hour, the 7 to 8 Central, 8 to 9 Eastern, and converting that to NXT and treating it like a totally separate product. And
they'd rather ram Total Divas down our throat for three different segments.
Yeah, put some of that Total Divas backing behind NXT. See what happens. I guarantee it would be good.
I've just completely and totally, once again, I've not watched Total Divas. I don't plan to watch Total Divas.
I have no desire to watch Total Divas.
My definition of reality TV is Alabama and Auburn football.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Reality TV is moonshiners.
Haven't seen it yet. I mean, I don't even look at Duck Dynasty as reality TV. I look at that as a television show. It's a situation comedy.
It's a reality TV. It's forced drama.
I have an
Touchdown Auburn
and a digital converter box, so reality TV does not enter into my home.
2 minutes later, Auburn scores.
Sure, reality TV enters into your home every time you watch Hulu when you watch WWE, because that's exactly what it is.
Well,
it's the updated version of reality TV.
No, I'm gonna go. Reality TV is considerably worse.
I don't know.
I can't sit through it. I think it's
WWE's been putting out some bad stuff the past couple of weeks, dude.
I'm not gonna say bad. But it certainly hadn't been great.
Look, the 6-man tag from Monday Night Raw was one of the best matches that they have had on Raw in a while. I'm sorry,
in at least 2 years. But then what did they do? Well, that hyped the crowd up. That was jacked up. You're never gonna hear me say anything bad about it because that was great. Cena was doing moves I hadn't seen him do in years. since the
Cena did
prototype
moves.
days.
How many moves did Cena do?
2 new ones.
At least 2 new ones that I haven't seen since the prototype days.
Which I like seeing it, but you can actually rewind the tape just a little here. And when they hooked it up last week on SmackDown, which I watched last Saturday after we got off the air, I really enjoyed SmackDown last week. And again, it was the same 6-man. I really enjoyed it.
Hey, it waited
I
12
did
minutes.
too, but what I'm saying is this: you blew it out of the water. You shot for the moon and hit it with that 6-man tag at Raw, and then what happened?
You took a crap on the moon.
You just shit on the rest of the product. Sorry, crap on the rest of the product.
There went that word
Sorry.
again.
Eat more chicken.
Action company. I apologize.
Eat more chicken. Well, see,
But I'm just saying, your crowd was red hot after that match,
Yes.
and then they were completely dead by your big, huge payoff with the Big Show at the end of the night, which
I'm
was
still
supposed to
not
be
getting
your
it.
big moment.
I'm still not getting it.
it is 7 minutes before the top of the hour. You are listening to Beyond Ringside. This is the Saturday Showcase. Fast Eddie Layne, Hitman BDC, Ryan Adcock, the Cause and Effect, Robert Cosper. Dear WWE, the 6-man tag team match from Monday Night Raw featuring John Cena, Goldust, and Cody Rhodes versus Damian Sandow and the Real Americans should have been in the main event slot this past Monday. Not the 4-on-1 handicap fiasco that was put there.
It was horrible.
The 6-man tag had solid action and showed good balance as it unfolded. The segment with Show Steph and Triple H had a good flow at first, but completely fell apart in the end.
What, before
Yes.
they had to go to the multiple commercial breaks?
Personal opinion, it could have been written to where the closing shot would have been Big Show triumphantly getting his job back and Hunter fuming as you fade to black.
Yeah,
then
sell it right there.
and then come back next week, the following week, and Hunter set up Show in the handicap match.
Where was the
agree.
help? I mean, the help's been running down for multiple weeks now. Where was the help last week?
Don't know.
It's stupid.
It is.
It totally broke from the story they've been writing.
It's the use of excessive, here's those 2 words again, forced drama, which has been prevalent in the authority storyline, which is causing a number of people to change the channel or at least speak negatively about the product. Note about human psychology as it pertains to television. Normally, the last thing people see is normally the main thing they talk about and the first thing they remember. There is always a way to evoke a dramatic reaction from an audience without utilizing the idea of going overboard to force the story. That's
you got a Big Show who's supposedly got the company by the balls, right?
right.
Right.
Okay. And his big payoff is, I want my job back and I want a title shot. That's it.
Yeah, that's not.
What?
Yeah, it's hard. That's kind of a hard storyline to accept right there.
I mean, you can blow up the authority. You can better it for the guys in the back. You can do 500 things supposedly if you got the company by the balls. But your only payoff is, I just want my job back and I want a title shot.
No, I want my house back.
Yeah, I want my money.
I want my house back. I want my life back. I want to raise. There's so many things you can do.
Play the 19th. Go ahead.
I'm
I
agreeing.
want my
I'm
job
agreeing
back
with
and
you
I
over
can
here.
be up by the shield.
I want money and stock options in the company. I mean, no.
I want a car. I want my house back. I want my life back. I want better situations for guys in the back. Blah 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 blah. There's so many things you can do.
Y'all take it. I'll be right
I
back.
just want my job back.
Keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm not buying the story option. You're right. Yeah, I just want my job back. Now, everything you read and hear is Big Show is more over now than he ever has been. I don't understand.
Well, I agree with that.
But I don't understand
But what I'm
why.
saying- But how about this? How about I want my job? I want a world title shot in a handicap match, no disqualification, 6 of us against Randy Orton. I mean,
Which would be
there's so many
outstanding.
things you can do.
Yeah, you can change up. You can change up so much. Yeah, it was very stale. It was so vanilla. It was stale. His option, yes. You should have demanded something.
When he said what he wanted, I was like, what?
Yeah. It was. I agree. Again, this is not the best written storyline in wrestling history.
I would have played the 1960s country record backwards. I want my dog back, my wife back, my truck back, my house back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the music hits for the Shield, and they go to commercial. What the hell is that?
Yeah, and I would have wanted everything but my wife back, but that's another argument there. But going to commercial with the Shield, you just killed.
You
the
killed your
momentum
heat.
that angle was building. It's like you started a fire and then dumped water on it.
I mean, it's 3 or 4 months worth of payoff, and you just blew it up in 30 seconds.
Exactly. And then you killed it because we're going to take a commercial. We'll be right back.
Well, I think that they might have been afraid to have a renegotiation at a table because that would have reminded people, speaking of the Summer of Punk, about the negotiations between Vince McMahon and CM Punk before he ran off with the belt. And, you can understandably, Hunter ate a crap sandwich, but not much of one. Vince ate a much bigger one and wasn't getting sued by CM Punk. He just wanted Punk to resign. The
payoff should have been Hunter eats a 6-pound hamburger worth of crap, as much as he's been putting out the past 3 months.
True.
And like you said, you come back next week and do something different. That's fine. But the payoff has to be that he just has to eat it.
They got off scot-free in this circumstance. Folks, do me a favor.
Exactly.
Hang tight. We're going to the top of the hour break. We will be back on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. This is the Saturday Showcase. Stay tuned. In the Central Time Zone, high noon. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase. Fast Eddie Layne behind the control panel. Robert Cosper, Ryan Adcock on this Saturday thing. Anything can happen around this place, and we prove it to you. By the way, I didn't say this earlier, and I'm going to say it again before the show's over with. I want to say a very special thank you to our special guest from earlier this morning, the dog fighter, Gordon Shell. Great to have Gordon on with us this morning. Folks, check it out. The movie The Dog Fighter is on Vimeo, Vimeo.com. And there's also some other venues. Check him out on Facebook. Check him out on Twitter. If you're on Facebook, just look up Gordon Shell, as in the little thing you find on the beach, or the big thing, depending on what beach you go to. Shell, thanks for playing. And we will definitely have Gordon back on with us in upcoming days. Real quick, couple of program notes. Tomorrow, Sunday, November 10th, Beyond Ringside Live returns. We're slated to be joined by professional wrestling star Mike Cruz, based out of the Sunshine State of Florida. And we're scheduled to be joined by a longtime friend of Beyond Ringside, the radio network, and the family, Kevin Brannon with IWA Deep South. We are working on program notes for next weekend. There is a possibility that BR Live Sunday will be a comatose animal. Actually, we'll be on hiatus 1 week because I will be on the road next Saturday and Sunday, working with IWA Deep South in Tullahoma, Tennessee, as they present Carnage Cup 9. One of...
So you Eddie Layne your way onto that show, too?
No, actually, I work with IWA and have with a while. Thanks for playing. Nice try. Ass.
So you say.
Ass. Meanwhile... for our friends in the volunteer state of Tennessee, also in northern Alabama. Hey, look, I'm not just going to limit it to that because I spoke with Kevin 2 days ago, and he told me about some of the places from which people are going to be coming in for Carnage Cup 9, the ultra-violent tournament in the southeastern United States. And some of the matches that they have got lined up, this is going to be... I was going to say explosive, but I think that's one of the things being used in the match. In one of the matches.
See, that's the kind of wrestling you enjoy that I don't right there. You start throwing in the explosions and the barbed wire, that's not for me.
It's going to be a lot of fun. If you are of the ilk that gets into the ultraviolet, you will love this show and you will love this tournament. It is a
Please stop using that word.
What?
It's not ultraviolet. That's the biggest cop-out, crap-out word I've ever heard. Call it what it is.
I don't like using hardcore because that was whored out in the 90s.
Yeah, don't matter if that's what it is. It's hardcore. And you can whore it out if you want to, but Mick Foley and Terry Funk created that word, hardcore, before ECW ever existed.
That's where I was going. I was going to say at least we could call it extreme and do away with the hardcore.
I'll go with that. It goes beyond extreme, and that's the truth. So, like I said, easy way to say it. For those who are definitely able to make it, who enjoy that genre of professional wrestling, of which I am one. And for the record,
Thank you for not using that cartoon character ultraviolet word again.
But tomorrow on BR Live, yes, like I said, Mike Cruz and Kevin Brandon slated to join us. Also Tuesday, Back to Basics returns with the Tuesday Night Conversation. I will be joined by the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont. Depending on how you pronounce his last name is depending on how long I'll live to see the next week. But Matt Tremont will be joining me this coming Tuesday night. He will be a part of IWA Deep South Carnage Cup 9, and he will also be a part of Combat Zone Wrestling's Cage of Death in the month of December. And already been on the horn. Phil Stamper going to be rejoining us, getting everything set up for Cage of Death from CZW. DJ Hyde from Combat Zone will be joining us on the Sunday night edition in the next few weeks. Matter of fact, I believe it's the first Sunday in December. But keep your eyes open on .com. Keep your eyes open on our Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. For upcoming show information, we're going to have all the information up there, as well as on beyondringside.com. I've been working to try to reset and do a little bit of a facelift on .com this week. It's been fun. Shoot me now. Speaking of shoot me, I thought that they were finally going to find the way to put the bullet in the Aces and Eights storyline and faction, family, group, stable, whatever the hell it is. And it's kind of like that tuna fish that's been sitting open for a week. Still
stinks.
Even though you finally threw it out, the memory remains, and it don't smell good. Nope. I don't know if that was a methodology they were trying to do to breathe new life into it, or possibly just keep it off life support, or bring it off of life support for 5 minutes, but instead of pulling the plug, they decided to defib. And for some reason, the defib actually... No, it didn't work in the least. Look, there needs to be a better avenue, a better venue. I mean, hell, they broke up the Main Event Mafia. Why not? I mean, what have you got to gain by keeping Aces and Eights together? Not a damn thing. Is it getting Bully over any more than it already has? No. It was getting over more before that.
It was a decent swerve, though. I'll give them that. But I really thought when we started the show, we're doing away with Main Event and Aces and Eights and be done with it, because it's old, it's stale, be done, start fresh. But a decent swerve. I'm not a fan of keeping Aces and Eights around, but it was a nice swerve when Bully popped off the and how about you look up to Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was like, why are we referencing Steve Austin? This has nothing to do with it. But then when he said, what did he always say? I was like, oh, don't trust anybody. And that's when they jumped him. So decent swerve.
I'm going to release. Go ahead, Ryan.
Not really. It's Aces and Eights is all Eric Bischoff's creation, trying to be the NWO.
Mm-hmm.
Eric's gone, supposedly now. Blow that crap up. Bully doesn't need it. The only reason they keep it together is because somebody like Nux or Bischoff needs it, because otherwise they suck. All you need to do is run Bully out there with Brooke Tessmacher, and he's over.
You can run him out there with Brooke out of the picture, and he's over.
I prefer Brooke in the picture.
Yeah, you can just say what you want. I know you're not a big fan, but Brooke doesn't hurt him.
Doesn't help him either. She can go back to Hooters.
Yeah, but that's you, dude. You got this thing about Hooters girls, and that's fine.
Better yet,
but you're not talking for the general populace of the male out there.
Don't care.
Brooke is easy to look at.
Yes, she is.
Fine.
Yeah,
But see, here's the
she
thing.
knows it. That's the problem. She knows it.
But let's go and put the world in proper perspective. Let's let her actually have that run again in the knockouts division. She's not a valet. She's not a manager. She's a wrestler, supposedly.
When
she's
talking
actually
about knockouts, who's coming in? If you watch the knockouts match on Impact, who are they bringing in? It's got to be somebody big.
Just for Ryan, they're bringing in Tasha Simone.
No,
Oh,
they're
shit,
not.
I didn't mean
No, they're not.
Darn her. I would love to see Tasha in that. I would love to see Tasha in anything.
Tasha would never go to that, according to her. Even though when they flashed a paycheck in front of her, I guarantee you she'd go.
It depends on how many zeros are in that check.
Shit. You let him flash a right amount of money, I guarantee you she'd go. Like Ted
Once
DiBiase
again,
says, every man's got his price.
Everybody's got a price, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, including me. And that's not even top dollar.
Hell, I'm not bashful to say it, including me.
Yeah, hell, you pay me enough, I'll go.
I'm easy.
I mean, we're already gonna fill out resumes and send them to TNA since they're hiring writers now.
Dude, I'm not shitting with you guys about that. I'm gonna send a resume in.
TNA
I don't have
would
3 years of television, but I'm gonna send a resume.
I will say this, Dixie Carter doesn't have the balls to bring in someone like us who actually has a clue.
I agree with that, because if you read the job requirements, but seriously though, on there, if you read the job requirements, other than 3 years television production, all three of us, well, two of us have the tools because it requires social media, Ryan.
I don't need to be on social media to be a writer, dude.
But I'm a firm believer in you can use social media to further your storyline, to sell your angles if you do it properly. And that's the problem. Not everybody's got it down how to do it properly. It's either not enough or it's way too much. There's a fine line.
What's funny is that I read the description on that one, and I genuinely feel like they aimed that sumbitch straight at me. And I'm just sorry.
I did too.
I'm sorry, because I've got over 3 years experience in television. God knows I've got the social media skills. I've got the experience in pro wrestling. I've done just about I've actually done pretty much everything there is to do in the sport, in the business. Drink, and there you can do it. Drink, and in the don't. He popped the top. There he went.
No, on cue, I might add.
He was waiting on that one, kids.
I'm stunningly shocked that somebody that would have an open casting call for something in the radio, TV production, wrestling business that you would think aimed at you.
Well, Eddie is a man of many talents here.
This is the man, ladies and gentlemen, that we have coined the phrase, Eddie Layne his way onto any show.
Man, I actually
Not
used that
any.
term last week. And
Not
people
any.
They're like, what are you talking about? I just Eddie Layne my way over here, and people are like, what?
I would only work if it gave stability, and TNA unfortunately cannot prove the factor of stability. Auburn ahead by 2 touchdowns.
Don't give me that Tasha Simone BS.
No. I'm saying stability. No. Wait.
I love you
No.
like a brother, you know that. But if Dixie Carter called and offered you a significant paycheck to come to work for TNA, you would be there tomorrow.
Let me counter that, because I have to say this. One, and if I were 19, if I were 20, if I were 30 all over again, if I were 21, I'd drop everything. But at this point in time, mortgage, car note, insurance.
It's got to be worth your time, man. It's got to be worth your time.
I am not going to just up and walk away from everything that I've got right now to go work for a company that may fold in 6 weeks. I'm sorry.
Exactly
That's
right.
the God's honest truth there, Hitman.
Well, that may be true, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if the paycheck is significant to counteract that, listen to what I say.
I know, but
Yeah.
it's got to prove
If there's enough zeros on that paycheck, you would drop what you're doing right now and go to work for Dixie Carter.
Look, if it was the same thing, if I knew that I was in an environment that was stable, to where I knew that I would be able to pay my bills for at least the duration of the contract, yes, I would consider the notion of doing it.
Not consider, you would do it.
No, I'd have
That's
to.
fine. I would do it. Robert would do it. Anybody would.
But Robert,
It's not a knock, dude. It's not a knock on you. It's just a
No,
fact.
it's just, but see, I'm not saying you're knocking me, and I'm not taking offense, and I'm not being defensive. I'm just being real on this one. Because there comes a point in time, it's like, okay, look, I'm not saying that I'm growing old. I'm not saying that I'm getting old. I'm saying that I will admit to the fact that I'm getting older, but I'm damn sure not old by any stretch of the imagination. Because I can outrun, outlast, outparty, and outdo anybody, just almost anybody in my circle. And some that I haven't even met yet.
But the mornings are a lot harder than they used to be.
No, not really. I was up at 8 o'clock this morning fighting with the computer.
It doesn't matter what time you get in. I'm just saying the recovery time is not what it once was.
Oh, no, it still is for me to a great degree. I just start drinking earlier. That way I'm embalmed faster.
Oh, that's my philosophy.
There you go.
Well, I agree with that, too.
Avoid the Christmas rush drink.
To drink earlier now is proving my point.
Hell, yeah, you drink earlier to cure your hangover from last night.
Yeah, I learned that when I was 19.
In our younger days, we didn't have those, and we were right back going again.
Oh, I got hungover when I was 19. Let there be no doubt.
I used to run around in my '90s sunglasses, sitting in my bedroom, going, "Man, this shit's bright."
Yeah, no, I'd be sitting in a small dark room, going, "Turn the light off."
Yes.
But as the old saying goes, time waits for no man, dude.
No, it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't. And for the record, the thing I'm drinking right now is actually the red label drink with the white writing and the little swoosh on it. And no, it's not a Nike sports drink. Damn, I mentioned a brand name.
It's just as big a company, though.
Yeah, bigger. And I've got some really good friends.
Piss on that company, just my personal opinion. Sorry.
I've got friends who work there in marketing.
Yeah, I do too.
No offense. I'd rather piss on them too because Dr. Pepper doesn't work for me.
Drink Pepsi.
I can't do Pepsi. I do Dr. Pepper.
We don't mention brand names. Y'all are mentioning.
And Dr. Pepper's independently bottled, just for the record.
Exactly.
And distributed through.
Sorry, I'm promoting Dr. Pepper.
You are now responsible for getting that company on board this show as an advertiser.
Hell, I know people there. I'll call them Monday.
There you go.
Not a problem. The cause comes through for you.
Now, the fact remains, and like I said, legit, straight shoot. No games, no crap. Just straight up. I said it a minute ago, and I'll wrap my concept with this statement. If the stars lined up, the money was right, and I know that the stability is there, I would definitely have to consider it. But at this point in time, and Hitman, you know me better than anybody.
True.
As long as I can have fun doing what I'm doing, I will stay. When it stops being fun, I don't care how much money's involved, I will leave or not go to begin with.
I agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
I don't make a dime doing this damn thing. But you know something? I love it and I have fun doing it. Therefore, I do invest the time that I have into Beyond Ringside and the entire network. I've busted my ass and busted my gonads to try to build this thing into a credible, respectable force.
Oh, damn, we got to be credible and respectful.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but when we throw that out, we can launch this thing like a rocket ship then.
Yeah, no. Well, then you have, I can't say it. Look, if I wanted to be Howard Stern, I could be Howard Stern at the drop of a hat. I could drop the F-bomb and talk about lesbians in wrestling and homosexuals in wrestling and porn stars in wrestling all day long, or in MMA or in sports. That's my dad.
Yeah, but it gives you nothing. At least we've got points. We've got facts. We can talk and entertain without throwing out the profanities.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Howard Stern as much as the next guy.
I don't really enjoy it.
There's a place for that, though.
I find him boring.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Now, old school Howard Stern, hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the pre-private parts days, absolutely.
Yeah.
He was gone corporate and he's lost some of what he had. But he's getting older and it's getting time for him to move on.
In the words of the Bare Naked Ladies, it's all been done before.
Yes. Now, the day, he was a pioneer.
He was the innovator of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
In the day, he was a pioneer.
Exactly.
But that day's come and gone.
Not necessarily. There's a way to reinvent yourself. Just ask Madonna. Sleep with somebody new.
He's not going to do that, though, because he's 2 years away from walking away, though.
Yeah,
Shit,
very
I'd
true.
have already walked. With his money, I'd have already walked.
I'd have been done. I would be in Bermuda.
Yes.
It's like Gene Simmons said, when you get that first taste, though, when you make more money, what's the first thing you want to do? You want to
Make more money.
Yes. More money.
Yeah. Yeah, you got money, what do you want? More money.
Exactly. That's why there's billionaires and there's people like us.
I can tell you what, the Cos would be sitting on a beach of Belize with his hair and his beard dangling in the sea.
He'd be looking like Tom Hanks from Castaway.
You damn right.
That'd be true.
I'm
but
flirting
then
with it now.
when they offer you $50 million to do it, you'd do it again.
Depends how many millions I already have. If I've got enough and get out of the American tax system, now this is where the geek in me comes out. Get out of the American tax system and go down there, because you can buy a lot of property, cheap taxes.
But you got to think about it like me though. Who says you can't go down there and still do it?
No, you can. Thank God for the internet. You can.
Exactly.
Now, if I were sitting on Belize, I'm not sure that they have internet service, but if they do, yes, I would be sitting there with a drink in my hand, counting my money, doing radio from there. Absolutely.
With $50 million, I'm sure I can get an internet service down there.
No, because see that's the catch to it. You don't want to publicize this crap, because there'll be some politician that's ready to take your money right out of your pocket. Taxes just went up.
I have a question, and I'm stealing one.
Let's please not get into politics.
I know. I'm sorry. I have trouble. I'm sorry.
Stealing from the top 40 days. EC3, smash or trash? Hitman.
You mean the character?
Yes.
Or what exactly are you asking me?
The character, the television presentation of the character.
I think he has the potential to be something great.
I agree.
But Robert says that he thinks, and I don't mean to talk for him since he's finally awake and on the line.
Oh, what?
I'm sorry, I had to take my shot. But, I mean, he seems to think the same guy coming in there wrestling is what makes it funny. I think you can bring in a bunch of jobbers or nobodies and make it just as funny.
Yes. I agree with that. Go ahead.
I think you need to let him wrestle different guys, and he has the potential to be great. I mean, but if you want to make him something phenomenal, and I don't want to make him a carbon copy, you do like they did with Goldberg. I mean, you bring in legitimate guys that people know, and you let him squash them. And you build him. I ain't talking about going for the streak or anything like that. Don't do that. But I'm just saying, you build him up that way. And the more legitimate the guys he beats, the bigger the build will be.
You know,
because he's got the look, dude.
He does. He does.
And I don't know how much talent he's got. I mean, what I've seen is pretty good, but look who he's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? It don't take much to make those guys look bad.
I've got one thing I've got to slide in real quick. It's just the fact that I watched the promo with EC3 and Dixie Carter, and I swear to God, Dixie Carter looked like she was about to swoon or kiss him.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
I swear that she had the look on her face, in her eyes, and you can't fake that look. It's like, I'm gonna jump him.
Well, okay. So we're gonna buy it. It's her nephew, and. Seriously,
or supposed nephew.
That's where I'm going. All right, here's what I would do. Honestly, with EC3, I would shift gears a little bit, Ryan. I wouldn't go with the Goldberg streak. I would go much like Jericho with the Gilbert.
Do me a favor. I hate to do this.
We're going to go to break.
I've got to take a phone call real quick. Unless y'all want to carry it for about 4 more, and I'll be right back.
I can carry it for 4 for what I got to say.
Y'all keep going. Bye bye.
All right. Seriously, Ryan, what I would do if I were writing, yes, I would bring in a couple of more jobbers, no doubt. And honestly, I had this gimmick in mind. A buddy of mine and I were talking yesterday, and we totally think that Dixie Carter's tapped our phones. We were going to do it for an idea I had for a different promotion out there. But take the jobber, okay? Like, what is this guy's name that EC3's facing?
Let's just say El Nobody.
Yeah, okay. Let's take El Nobody here, okay? Now he's faced him, I know, 3 times that I've seen. But okay, bring out different ones, okay? Taz is doing a great job of selling it on commentary, which is what you got to have. Taz is doing a good job. Now I would dump it. Now I'm a fan of the absurd. because you insult your fans' intelligence, because they're going to show up next week to show you that they're smarter than you and they know better and prove their point. It's funny, but you bring in this jobber, okay? And Taz is selling it good. Bring in different jobbers every week, but freaking come up with like a Oaks Lodge number 327, 1987 champion right here, facing EC3, and then what you do as EC3 drops these guys, okay? Then turn around and let one of these jobbers show up and beat somebody mid-card. Just steal a victory mid-card. All of a sudden, EC3 just shoots to the top of the rankings. You see what I'm saying? Now
they could even come out wearing like a homemade world championship belt or something.
Yes, but he just shoots. He skyrockets. He's now a legitimate contender. Well, I've beaten this guy consistently, and look who he just beat. You know, I mean, you got to find the right person for him to beat. But you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and then after that, absolutely. And then after that, you can start building him up with like they did. You know, like I said, I'm not talking about the Goldberg unit, but I mean, Goldberg's first match in WCW was against Hugh Morris.
Yes. Yeah,
and then you can start putting him on people like Daniels and Kazarian and start building him up, and then all of a sudden he's got legitimacy.
Yes, because I mean,
and he's got heat with him.
Absolutely, and you've just manufactured another storyline. You keep creating and keep creating. You keep going. You know,
and it builds and it builds, and it's not forced and it's not. It's got to happen right now, and then all of a sudden in 3 or 4 months. He's bring back your U.S. title like we've talked about, the TV title, like we talked about before. He competes in a tournament for that. He wins the TV title. Now he's beating more legitimate guys. Now he's in the world title picture. Now he's competing, and you just build it gradually, and the fans are behind it from day one, and they keep getting more fans and more fans and more fans as it goes.
Absolutely. I mean, now we're talking about a 2-year process, but yes, or at least 2 years. But yes, you're exactly right.
Also referred to as 3 weeks in WWE timing.
I'm not a fan of that. Because I mean,
how long? Think about it like this, and I know I keep going back to it, but he has the potential to be as big as Goldberg, maybe. But how long did it take him to put a title on Goldberg?
Year and a half? Yeah, I was just saying it's almost 2 years. Almost 2 years.
Yes. When he first got the U.S., and by the time he got the U.S. title, he was so big they didn't know what to do.
But yeah, you're exactly right. But here's the thing with Goldberg. I think a year and a half to 2 years is rushed. To go to you walk in the business, drink, guys. Well, you walk in the business, and then 2 years later you're the world champion. That's rushed. You don't know how to work it.
A world champion in 2 years is rushed. No one should ever get pushed that hard that fast. I don't care.
Yes.
I mean, now,
I don't like we've talked about before, and mainly I've thought about it and brought it up at a certain thing. How big was that night at the Georgia Dome?
It was huge.
How big was that night?
Oh, it was freaking huge. I completely agree with that.
You have to remember also, I'm guilty of this every once in a while, and that's flashing back to the territory mentality where it's like, okay, you can have a company championship put on somebody, but I'm sorry, at this point in time, the world championship, the world heavyweight title, and the WWE and the WWE title are 2-1 in that order. So it's putting the world heavyweight championship, WWE World Heavyweight Championship, or the WWE title on someone inside of 2 years is basically the same as let's use this for example, Ryan Hitman coming into let's just pull a name out of the hat, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and becoming Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion inside of 90 days.
But see, your difference there is, well, yeah, I agree with that. But your difference there is you're talking about the big time and the minor leagues.
It's not a minor league. They just don't have the same budget, dude. If I had the same budget as
that's fine. I'm not knocking them in any way. But what I'm saying is
potato argument there.
Exactly. I mean, you got to think about it like this: how long did it take Miz to get his world title? Less than 2 years.
Well, there's some people who never get that championship. Kofi Kingston's been there. Kofi Kingston's been there for a while and has not gotten that title yet.
Kofi Kingston is not ready for it.
Kofi Kingston is not ready for it.
Kofi,
because they didn't build him the right way.
No, I agree. Ring skills, Kofi Kingston absolutely smokes Miz. Mike skills,
Miz smokes
totally
Kofi.
Flip it over.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Do me a favor. Let's hit the bottom of the hour break real quick. Folks, we're going to be back in about 5 right here. The Saturday Showcase continues on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Coming up next hour, the unreleased off-air conversations.
Oh, you're talking about levels on your soundboard. I'm sorry, I was confused.
And explicit lyric warning
Advisory will be in
off air.
effect. I know. We normally save that for Wednesdays. Welcome back into the Saturday Showcase, 18 before the top of the hour, live from Studio One.
Which I've never been invited to, by the way.
You know, Wix, I take that it is hurtful. Wix never invited me over there either.
Because I could drop an F-bomb just as good as they can.
I don't know. That's like his favorite word.
No, it's Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or something like that. I don't know.
That's the only word that can be used as an adjective, a pronoun, a noun, or a verb. How bad can it be?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. In my personal life, I use the word fluently, but Wix,
Yes, we do.
Yes, I do too. I'm guilty of it. Guilty
Wix,
as charged.
Wix a master of it.
I have a
Accent, by the
refrigerator
way.
magnet on my refrigerator that says I don't have a foul mouth. I just like to say the word
A
F
lot.
a lot.
It just sounds good. I love the way it rolls off the tongue,
Speaking of, for the record, of course, we were making loose references to the To Be Determined show, which broadcasts live on Wednesdays, 10 Eastern,
I thought
9.
you fixed to say you were making loose references to the word and actually say it. Okay.
I am not going to drop the F-bomb of that unless
Thank you, sir.
unless my temper just gets the best of me, and sometimes it does. But To Be Determined broadcast live Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, hosted by the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, Mad Dog Matt Denton, 3-time NWA Women's World Champion Tasha Simone, right here on Beyond Ringside Radio. Check us out sometime, or check it out sometime.
Hey, Tasha, the sexiest man in Wrestling Talk Radio says hello. Sorry, shameless plug. I'm Eddie Lanning my way over there.
Okay, thanks for participating with the cheese
It's a
puffs.
joke. It's a joke.
I know. With the cheese puffs flying out the bed of the truck. There you go.
Big time. Big time.
Yeah, this guy's made a better name.
That's such a funny commercial, by the way.
It really is. I mean, this guy's taken the word mayhem way past anything that Jason Miller could have done, speaking of him from earlier in the show. Now, we were making references to Impact in the previous segment. We're going to go full tilt on this thing for a few minutes. As it stands right now, I see that they are actually taking the advice and hitting the reset button. And,
Yes.
that is something that I said needed to be done. But right now, the thing and the little challenge that was put out there by Gail Kim, who is a very accomplished professional wrestler, making the comment, I'll take on anybody from outside this company. Hey, how quickly can you totally disrespect every female on the knockout side?
But who's coming in? That's my question.
I'd like to.
Go ahead. Finish your point.
There's a number of people that I would like to see come in. But by the same token, are they coming in to just job to Gail Kim, or are they coming in to build the knockouts division? That in and of itself is going to be the important question. You can open challenge out one side and up the next. But if they're coming in just to put over your champion, that's one thing. If they're coming in to build the knockouts division, and
Which is where we need to go.
which is exactly where it needs to go. You can be a dominant champion all day long, and this crap would lay at the top of playing the role of Tamina Snuka right now. To me, once again, copycat. Let's recycle something that WWE has done all over again and just call it something else.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, Leia Tatapa just does not have the look of the enforcer. I don't care how you make her up. I don't care how you curl her hair. She just does not have that look. I'm sure she might be good in the ring full scale, but as it goes right now, she is miscast in that role. She can be helped into that role, but it takes time.
I will agree and disagree with you.
Go for
it. Disagree on not being the enforcer. She can be, absolutely. But here's where I agree with you. You're a bigger ODB fan than I am. You don't bow her up to ODB and then let her punk ODB out, just like they did. You don't do that. Because when she was going through and laying people out, okay, and then ODB bows up to her, I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. This is going to be good. And she punked ODB. I mean, come on, seriously.
Haven't we already done this? I mean, didn't Kong do this same angle?
To a point.
Didn't Tara do this same angle?
Kong is okay. I hate to say this.
Easy with the Tara. We all know I've got to try.
Look, I respect Tara. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to go eat dinner in her bar.
Me too, dude. Let's take a road trip to Chicago. Seriously.
By the way, it was a nice showing of her to show up at Ring of Honor this week. But anyway.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I've got to tune in.
It was when she showed up for a fist fight with what's her name's Ho.
Maria Kanellis.
But anyway, Maria Kanellis was Maria Kanellis. But anyway, what I'm saying is, didn't we do the same thing when Terry was riding a motorcycle?
Yes, with the helmet, who's under the helmet, and all that. Yes.
That was
when she put her open challenge out there. You want to throw a swerve on the crowd and try to bring the Knockouts division back? Fine. Let her turn around and clothesline the piss out of Gail Kim.
It would be, but I was playing with my studio because I'm setting up new stuff, and I was watching TNA last night and commentating while I'm playing with buttons over here. And when Gail was talking, and I actually said, and now I'm going to issue an open challenge, just being sarcastic, watching her commentary, and then that's when she threw out her open challenge.
Yep.
But the bad part for that open challenge is the whole Knockouts division was in the ring at the time.
Yes, so we're back to the question: who is coming in?
Mickey's going to come back.
Oh, I hope not. I mean, not that I don't like Mickey. I do, but if you're going to build it like that, man, bring somebody in. That's the kind of promo you cut. I don't know. That's what
Angelina
I'm
Love.
you.
Angel Williams, Angelina Love.
Bring Angelina back.
I would love it. That would that'd be great.
What was the other chick? What was the other chick that was in the Beautiful People?
Velvet Sky.
No.
Madison Rain.
He's talking about Von Erich's daughter.
Lacey Von
Erich? No, I'm not talking about Lacey. I'm talking about the one that broke up the Beautiful People.
Madison Rain.
Yeah, she's retired.
Madison Rain could come back. She's done had a kid now. She can come back. Bring back, what's the one that had the great match with Gail Kim?
Gail's had a lot of great matches.
You know who I'd love to see come back is Taylor Wilde.
The one that was the referee.
Yeah, the Playboy girl.
Yes, hell, I can't remember
the
her
one
name.
That had the one that had one of the best Gail Kim matches, the best women's matches I've ever seen.
Gail going against Tara, Lisa. I'm gonna call her Lisa Marie because that's her name.
That's not the one I'm talking about, though.
No, but you could. Lisa won't go back. She's already been very public about she will not do TNA again. But take Lisa, take Gail Kim, take Mickie James. You got
Kim Terrell's the girl I was thinking. Tara Terrell's the girl I was thinking.
Playboy chick.
Yes. You got a really solid basis to build your Knockouts division on, and you can float that title around all day.
They tried that.
Oh, you don't even have to flip the title around. Just let them fight to get a number one contender. Let them and Gail Kim go at it.
Yes, but it's like, and like Eddie just said, they've already tried that. They tried it with Shoddy. Yeah, understand the "ot" part there. Shoddy riding around the rest of the show. Put that mid card. Put that mid card, upper mid card actually.
Because remember, they already tried the one night only pay-per-view with the Knockouts.
The one night only is not going to fly. Not with what they've put out for the past 2-3 years.
But, I mean, let's all be completely honest here.
Okay.
The Knockouts division's been suffering and going downhill since Dutch left.
Yes.
Yes. No argument. None.
Because you had somebody who understood wrestling writing for the Knockouts.
Philosophy.
You had someone who understood wrestling and the mentality thereof writing for the Knockouts and pointing that division in the right direction.
And that's why it was solid.
Yes.
Old school TNA. That's why. Oh, hell. Chalk that one up to me, guys.
Held MS.
But also, you can have great writing, and it can overcome a lot. But back when Dutch was there, they had great talent.
Yes, and this is back to my point that I've been making for months of TNA should be an alternative.
And they
to WWE. And with man, there was a point, especially 08, 09, early 2010. Man, their knockout division was solid, man.
And they had
solid.
a diverse knockouts division. It wasn't just based around boofed up hair and boob jobs.
Yes, it was an alternative to the divas. It was an alternative to the beauty pageant and watching Playboy girls wrestle. You know?
And
I mean, seriously.
Look, if I really want to see that, there's internet porn. And there's pay-per-view
Absolutely.
there's Jello wrestling, there's baby oil wrestling, there's tapioca pudding wrestling.
Yes, and they took the knockouts division and set it apart from that, because women's wrestling, to a point, you had going into that, you had women's wrestling you had ladies that were not attractive. They may have been great athletes, but they were not attractive. You sold beauty pageant winners getting in there and wrestling, and then you actually had
you sold sleepover matches and lingerie matches. Stop.
Yes, but then you had all that leading up to it. Then you took TNA comes out with this knockouts division that took good-looking women for the most part. Not everybody's going to win a beauty pageant there, but you took that and you showed that they were athletic. They could wrestle. They could compete, and they were entertaining.
And then you had WWE pick up Amazing Kong and did the one thing in the world that they wanted to do to her. They made her look human.
Yes,
Yep.
and you totally just freaking killed her gimmick when you did that. Because Kong was the lady who could get in the ring with guys and go. You know, ODB's in that category. She can get in the ring and go.
By the way, with looks that are highly underrated to me.
For Kong?
No, for ODB.
All right, we're all going to disagree on that, or
I just think when she wants to be, she can look as girly as she wants to. I mean, she's not in Brooks' league or Velvet Sky's league, but
I think in her way, in her own way, she's actually more real and more attractive than Brooke or Velvet.
No, Eddie's got a crush.
I just have a genuine appreciation. That's not a crush.
No. ODB in ring, man, she's awesome. She's not the worst thing in the world to look at by any means. But would I rather look at people who actually I think really legitimized women's wrestling? I'd rather look at the beautiful people. Think about their gimmick, man. They actually made it to where it was good to watch. It was fun to watch. Hell yeah, they're good to look at. But
you just got a man crush on Angelina Love.
Yeah, actually, I did.
Did you say a mad crush or a man crush?
Mad crush.
I was about to say, dude.
Mad.
If that's a man crush, okay, I'm there.
Yeah, I've got several man crushes I didn't know about.
Here.
Now I'm on record of Lisa Marie is my favorite women's wrestler.
Lisa Marie is very strong, by the way.
Yeah, and I may take some flack from you guys, but actually I doubt I will on this one. I've got her in a class with the fabulous Moolah, but a million times better looking. Moolah's got to be your greatest female wrestler ever, just because of what she did.
Moolah, Joyce Grable, Peggy Lee.
But Lisa Marie is.
If I had to pick the greatest female wrestler ever, it's going to be Lita.
Oh,
for what
gosh.
she can do in the ring.
We'll argue for 3 hours over that. Lita's good. She's not great. Lisa Marie is great.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm just saying, Lita did things that guys won't even do.
So did Lisa.
True, very true.
Actually,
I put both of them over Moolah though. But that's just me.
I wouldn't put Lita over Moolah. I would put Lisa Marie over Moolah. Now, don't get me wrong. Moolah was not the prettiest thing in the world, but man, she could wrestle and she could sell everything she did, and that's hard to do.
Go ahead.
No. I'm done. Go ahead. I'm rambling.
I just want to, talk about TNA overall, not just I mean, you got this revamp that they've obviously started to try to do, which we
Thank
all
God.
agreed they needed to do for months.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. You come out with your revamped show, minus Hogan, minus Bischoff, supposedly.
Thank God.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
You got 2 hours a week to try to sell it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to watch because I'm a wrestling fan, so I'm going to watch TNA.
Mm-hmm.
At least till they close the doors. But I mean, I'm not one of these fans that says they should close. They suck. I'm not that way. But I mean, you got this revamped show. You break up the main event mafia, which needed to be done. Fine.
Yes.
You should have broke up aces and eights. They didn't do that. Whatever. Okay, you got a 2-hour program to show the public what you're trying to do. You have technically four wrestling matches in a 2-hour program. One of them's a squash job. One of them has a legitimate finish, and the other two have screw finishes. With a frickin' Appletini again.
Yeah, I'm over the Appletini. Over it. Done. It was funny the first
and you bring,
five times.
And you bring back the monster, which we all agree you should have done. Let the monster come out. Bring back the TV title. And all of a sudden, Joseph Park's back on the TV again. And you got Pac-Man Jones in the ring.
Oh,
what the hell is that?
Not to mention, you've got two.
Absolutely hate that part.
You've got two NFL guys who are not who are not openly trained pro wrestlers, slamming your established tag team in Bad Influence.
Which they actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah, they did. They didn't suck.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of bringing in pro football players. Vince has been doing it since WrestleMania 2. Not a fan.
LT.
But I mean, what? Your TV title's non-existent, which is ludicrous. Your tag team champions aren't even on TV. The only good match, to be honest with you, the only good match of the night was the last match, which I give them credit for doing that. And Saban turned in a better performance than I thought he would. As I predicted last week, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but the right guy won.
Yeah, well, if you thought Jeff Hardy was not going to win that match, you don't understand wrestling. Hardy was guaranteed to win, but I'll give him credit, man. Great match. I enjoyed it.
Said it, meant it. You put Jeff Hardy on the card in the match, and 9 times out of 10, Jeff Hardy is going to go over because front office has got such a hard-on to keep him in the spotlight. It ain't even funny. Third quarter touchdown Auburn.
Yes.
Off the run back.
But Hardy showed why the front office has that hard-on.
If you put him in that kind of match,
Corey Grant, 90-yard touchdown kick, 90-yard touchdown return for the touchdown.
And he's already run a punt back for a touchdown, ain't he? I said, ain't he already run a punt back for a touchdown today?
I think he did, but that was a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Wow, he's having a day, isn't he?
15 seconds into the third quarter, 40-20, Auburn in the lead.
And
you do realize that
building some numbers.
Auburn is like 40-something and 2 when they get more than 30 points in a game.
And make it 41-20. The PAT's good.
Anyway, but what I'm saying is when you put Jeff Hardy in that kind of match, a tables, ladders, and chairs match,
that's a party match.
That's what he does.
Yes.
He revolutionized that in his WWE days. He takes that match into realms that nobody can take it. And I thought Saban hung with him pretty good. And this is coming from a guy who thought that Saban looked like a 12-year-old when he had the world title. But I'm going to give credit. If I'm going to promote you, I'm going to give credit to you where credit's due. Credit's due. He carried that match just as well as Jeff did.
Yep.
In that environment, Saban's at home.
Yep. Ultimate X.
Yes.
It's not the same as Full Metal Mayhem now.
You can bring in ladders and everthing else in Ultimate X matches.
It's a completely different mentality, though.
Well, true.
And I know it's a cheap-ass aluminum can, about like their metal steps are, whatever. We all know that's high-density aluminum. But that shot that Saban took in the forehead when Jeff hit him with a garbage can, I was like, damn.
The flip Hardy did off the ladder to win the match was good.
The swanton off the top of the ladder?
Yes, it was great.
Yeah, it was.
Hold on, you're going to love this stat. Auburn, offensive yards, 280. Return yards, 277.
Hey, whatever it takes to win, baby.
Win.
We could do like, I don't remember who it was, but we could do like they did, somebody did the other day. They had no offensive touchdowns, but they won like 27-3 because their defense scored 2. I don't care, as long as we win, baby.
And hey, Ryan, we're close enough now. We're in that territory. We can start talking smack for the Iron Bowl. Man, I'm ready.
We got to get past next week. So.
I got to get past LSU first. I'm sorry. End of discussion on that before I talk any kind of smack about looking down the road. I'm looking at tonight. Alabama, LSU. I'm going to go and lay it out there.
Huge game.
Hitman, your thoughts on that game?
I think Alabama wins handily.
I think the line is 12.
It's really going to be as close as people think it is.
The line is 12.5.
I think it'll be close to that.
I'm saying Bama by a touchdown, so I'm going to have to go against my team because of the points. I'm saying by Alabama by 7.
I've said this all year, dude, and you can take this for what it's worth, just coming from a fan. Auburn should have beat LSU.
Should have.
If it's not in the pouring down rain and we don't snap the ball over the punter's head, we got a real good chance to win that game. I thought LSU is overrated.
Okay.
I think Mettenberger's a good quarterback, but they lost 80% of their defense. They got beat by Georgia. They should have got beat by Carolina, I think. But I mean, they're okay. They're good. They're not LSU of old.
No.
I don't think they can play with Alabama.
Cosper?
I don't think there's many teams in the country that can play with Alabama for 4 quarters.
No, I don't think there are either. But I'm going to go different with you guys, and I'm actually going to throw points out here. I'm going to go Bama by 3.
I thought you didn't do points.
I don't. I'm too greedy. But
wow, you show up 45 minutes late, you're throwing points out. This is a new Cosper.
Yeah. I've changed. I had a freaking epitome.
You know, I give you a hard time about looking like Damian Sandow, but I saw somebody the other day that you look more like than Sandow. I think he's your evil redneck cousin.
God, I'm afraid to ask.
Avery Johnson?
Oh, I love Avery. Great guy.
Johnson. You mean the microwave?
No.
No, Avery is a contributor on our pro wrestling fan page. Great guy. Puts out a lot of quality stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. The only Avery Johnson I knew was the microwave.
There you go.
But you're evil, redneck, and Eddie. If you don't agree with me, you're lying to protect your co-host's feelings. Your evil redneck cousin is Luke Harper from the White family.
I'll go with that.
Oh, those are fighting words. Dude,
I'm telling you,
he said cousin.
That beard, and your evil redneck cousin is Luke Harper.
He did say cousin.
All right.
That's two.
Yeah, you guys are flushing my whole gimmick down the freaking toilet over here.
Well, no, your sophisticated English cousin, or your sophisticated, more better than you cousin, is Damian Sandow. But your evil redneck cousin that you don't like to tell anybody about is Luke Harper.
It's like we talked about on the Pam Anderson roast. Pam Anderson's the one you sleep with and tell your friends. Courtney Love is the one you sleep with and tell your doctor.
No doubt.
It's your redneck cousin. There you go.
No doubt. I've learned. I've been playing with my Mac this week. Nobody go. Let's not take it in the gun.
Thank God you said my Mac. I was fixing to say, where the hell are you going?
My Mac. And I normally watch all my wrestling stuff.
Hold it. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
Ooh, snow leopard baby. Okay, go ahead.
Tell me some more of that. That was nice.
Thank you.
No, I normally watch my wrestling on one of my boxes on my TV, and unfortunately, Amber was irritating the living shit out of me. The other night, so I was watching it on my Mac, and I started doing full screen captures because I'm doing it for, she cuts hair and does all this good stuff. I'm like, all right, this is what I want to look like. This is, I already look like this. I just need you to trim my beard this way and clean up my hair because, I had a haircut in 6 months.
Let it all grow out, dude. Then you'll look just like Luke Harper.
Dude, I've been letting it grow out, and you're probably right. So I've got to at least clean up my neckline here a little bit, you know. So I've got her full screen captures of Sandow. You know, this is how you got to trim my beard this way, and she's scared to death to do it because I'm so freaking particular about absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You know? She says it's the Virgo in me. I just think that I'm a jerk, but.
So we can just start calling you DS2 now?
Might as well.
There you go. If we're heading in this direction, I'm using 2 words. Actually, I'm going to make it 4 words. Oh, Hitman.
That's 3. Actually.
Last call.
You can't just drop last call on me out of talking about his illegitimate cousins and family.
Okay, I'll give you a second to think.
His loss was 45 minutes late. Let him go first.
Cosper, last call.
Shit, no, it's a 3.
Damn. I'm going to have to use the explicit label on this crap.
Yeah, we're going to put the WIC label on this thing. Last call, got a bunch. Hey, can I go on record and announce that I've got something big going?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. In a couple of weeks, we're going to launch another show on the network here. It's going to be a roundtable format, very similar to what we do now, which I hope both of you guys are going to chime in and guest host with me. We're going to do a roundtable. I'm still throwing format against the wall a little bit, but we're going to do another radio show. My cause and effect partner is going to be joining me. Again, I'm going to carry him on everything we do. But we're going to do a roundtable format, talking wrestling. We're going to have different guest hosts. I really want both of you guys to chime in. Man, I lost my train of thought. But we're going. The format's going to probably be like a pre-Raw and a post-Raw, and then we may flip it over to Thursday and do a pre-Impact and a post-Impact. We'll do like an hour live before the show. People can call in. We'll discuss our predictions. We'll talk wrestling. And then after the show, we'll talk about who was wrong, why they were wrong, or who was right, why they were right.
See how that's done, week? See how you get invited to another show?
See, I'm reading the Eddie Layne book right now of how to Eddie Layne my way onto stuff. But we're going to actually have. I've actually talked to a couple people already. We're going to have guys that I should say guys. We're going to have folks that are involved in wrestling from WWE to WCW, old school, to independent, working on the independent leagues. Talking wrestling with us. Different people from the Facebook fan page are going to join in. So also let me plug the fan page. It's on Facebook. It is the Pro Wrestling fan page. Fan page is one word.
You'll never see it. You'll never see it, Hitman. It's on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Yeah. I heard that.
I've reactivated my Twitter account. It's at the Cause, COSZ, the Cause. I need friends because I hate Twitter. I don't like talking on it, so I need people to actually talk to on there. I don't really have many followers yet because I don't use the thing, but I've reactivated it in the past 2 weeks. Actually, the past week. I think I reactivated last Friday.
Yeah, you did.
One of my followers, by the way.
At Beyond Ringside.
Did he do right when you reactivated it?
No, you told me.
He did. He's on there. He knows what I do. I texted him the other day. I'm like, man, I'm finding stuff you sent to me in February. I freaking hate Twitter. But
I can picture Hitman on Twitter. This hashtag sucks. Hashtag blow me.
No doubt. But that's where you can find me. I worked all last week. I've got a little bit to do this week, but we're going to launch a Cause and Effect YouTube channel. It's going to cover our, if you want to call it our wrestling stuff, you can. It's going to do our video show of that. Got a bunch of pranks that we've pulled on people that we've taken the camera and recorded. And just for radio purposes, a couple of fun pranks even that I managed to record. So catch us over there whenever I get the YouTube feed up and going, which is going to take a second, but hopefully this week we'll have it. And it's Cause, C-O-S-Z, and Effect. And that's the and sign. Do not spell and. It's the and symbol. Okay, I'm done with the last calls. And God,
Actually, that was shameless plugs.
That too.
Okay. Hitman, you're up.
I just want my last call is there, so we hit on it a little earlier, but I was going to save it to the end. That's why I really didn't comment on it much. I was confused. I've been confused with WWE for a while, and something that I was wondering was, did Eric Bischoff go back to work for Vince McMahon?
Oh shit!
And the reason I say that is because you got nonstop drop storylines with WWE that are so relevant and rampant these days. And I'll give you a few examples. I mean, you got no payoff with Kane and the Watts.
None.
You got no payoff about Daniel Bryan supposedly paid off Scott Armstrong. I mean,
Yeah.
you got no help with the Big Show after the big payoff this week, supposedly. They've been running in for weeks. You got no payoff with that. I mean, you just dropped the lawsuit, and now Big Show's plainly stealing Daniel Bryan's chance.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Pass
And
interference
it's like they hired a third grader to do this writing all of a sudden.
with ADD.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to talk about what a great job Triple H has done. Well, he's screwing the pooch, folks, if he's the one doing it. The reason the ratings aren't going down have nothing to do with Daniel Bryan.
Zilch.
They dropped that storyline. Daniel Bryan should have had the title 2 pay-per-views ago and see what kind of run he could do.
Yeah, at least test the guy out and see what he can do. Because I'm a Bryan fan, and I'm an independent fan. So when I see somebody great from the, I know Eddie's going to argue, but when I see somebody great from the indie leagues hit mainstream,
Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
Antonio Cesaro, the Usos.
Yeah, no.
Cesaro.
Hell, I think we're actually going to get that push. After watching SmackDown and Raw, I think Cesaro's actually going to get a push.
He was getting a push, and they took it out from under him.
Yeah, they snatched the
It
rug.
took them long enough.
Yeah, they pulled man, his United States title run was incredible. They
Yes, it
pulled
was.
the rug out from under him, but especially on last Friday's SmackDown, man, JBL was pushing it. He was really promoting Cesaro.
Good.
And he's a guy who needs a push. He's a guy, man, in the right setting, man, Cesaro could be like unfreaking stoppable.
And my last thing, you're right. But my last thing for last call is, listen, I don't know what his real name is, if it's Joseph Park or whatever. Please, God, stop this angle.
Yes, please stop it. It
Let
sucks.
Eric Young go out and do his own thing, because the crowd is hot for Eric Young,
Yep.
Yes, and rightfully so.
and rightfully so. I don't mind the idea of you putting him and Gunner together. I think that would work.
Dude, I'm all on that, and I'm actually going to
I
put that on
agree
my
with
cover
you.
page of my
You're right.
resume.
But
Yeah,
if you're going to let Eric Young do his own thing, because the crowd is so much behind him,
yes, and he can carry Gunner. It's just freaking. Oh, I hate
and
this.
take
It's
this
smart
Joseph
business.
Park angle and run it off a damn cliff somewhere.
Yes, be done. Write it off. Throw it out the window. Get rid of this Hogan and Bischoff BS.
Bring the monster back and let him do what he does.
Yes, that's why he's a draw. He is not a draw for being Joseph Parks.
Nope.
Great draw being Abyss.
Yep.
I mean, they want to try to turn him into this Mick Foley, Mankind dude. Look, stop.
Been done once, and that
Good
was
guy.
enough.
Maybe try to do it something different, but Joseph Park sucks.
Yes.
If they had the 3 faces of Foley, would that mean that they had the pre-prices of Park?
Yeah, but Foley,
Touchdown, Auburn.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah. But, I mean, just, look, I enjoy Abyss.
To a point.
Let him come in and do what he does. There's nothing wrong with Abyss.
Trey
No,
Mason.
there's not.
Trey Mason, 4-yard touchdown run. Nice lunge.
If you want to let Abyss come in and take the mask off and just still be Abyss, fine.
I'm not a player on that.
I'm not saying I would either, but At least it's something different. But stop being Joseph Park.
Yes, flush it. Be done with it. It sucks. It's stupid.
Seven.
Hogan and Bischoff.
It's one of the
garbage
Bischoff
right
angles
there.
that needs
Yes.
to go away.
Yeah, there was no point in the first place. I'm not the biggest Bischoff fan in the world. NWO, yes, Eddie, I can use this terminology, right? He shot his wad in 1996.
Sure, Wally.
And,
Yeah, he did, but he did that with superior talent.
He did, but all he did was freaking capitalize on what the wrestling publications, the print out there, was. People have been screaming for it for years, and Vince would ignore it. Bischoff capitalized, and I'm not saying that was a bad idea because it was a great idea. But
Vince finally came around. I give you DX.
Yes, but it took him a year and a half.
Very true. And
But what I'm saying is, this Aces and Eights, which was his incarnation of the NWO,
it's the same. It's the same stuff he's done over and over. He shot one load, and it hit.
You got one guy. Well, you had two guys in there really that have superior talent, in my opinion. And that's the Dudley Boys.
Dudleys were a great tag team.
If you want to break them up, fine. But the reason NWO was so successful in the beginning, before it got diluted,
It's what people wanted to see.
and the talent was superior at the time. Kevin Nash was in his prime. Razor was in his prime.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And I'll still tell you,
a good performer in the ring. Hogan actually did a good job as Hollywood Hogan. I got to give him that.
Yeah, because Hulkamania was dead. He was getting as many boos as he was cheers.
True.
At that point. Now, I'll still tell you, I'm firmly convinced, and it'd be hard to change my mind, your original third man was going to be Bret the Hitman Hart.
I have a question.
Yes.
I think the original third man was supposed to be Sting, but I could see the Bret Hart angle.
I think it was going to be Bret because they were doing the WWE or WWF at the time thing. What's your question, Edward?
Did Hitman ever wrap up his last call?
No,
Yes,
we're still
I did.
arguing.
Well, no, I was actually.
We've gone
I was
off in the
actually
90s.
wrapping it up and we were discussing it.
We've actually gone on to 4 different topics in the time of this, and we've got a wrap.
That's because you don't give us enough damn time. Robert shows up 45 minutes late. We got a 45-minute interview. We don't have enough time.
But hey, but look, I got us an interview. I feel like shit.
I'm not knocking. Don't get me wrong.
That's
I'm not
4.
I'm
Six,
not
actually.
knocking the interview. It needed to be said, and it was very well done. It
Very
needed to
good.
be.
And guys, I'm not kidding. Worth the $5 on Vimeo. Great movie. I enjoyed it. I watched it last night. Really good stuff.
Do you get replays on it?
Dude, I've got a 24-hour replay. I'll shoot you my password.
Don't worry. Don't say that on the damn air.
Oh yeah. Damn it.
Anyway, go ahead, Eddie.
Shit damn hell. Shit damn hell.
No, it's hell damn ass.
We didn't miss the whole game anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah, we've screwed it. It's out the window now. Go for it.
No, I was just wondering if you'd actually wrapped it because I didn't know if we were still on the same. Because I know we'd covered so many different topics in the last few seconds. It's like, hold on, he was over here and we're all the way over here. This was last call, not a brand new hour.
All right, basically, I'll sum it up to say this in one sentence. As much as all of us, I think, want TNA to succeed as an alternative to WWE, and I put the air quotation marks as an alternative, don't try to be a competitor because you have no shot. You don't have their budget. You don't have their talent pool. Fine. You have great wrestlers on your own. But as we want these guys to succeed as an alternative to WWE, because I think the Monday Night Wars were good for wrestling. I think the competition is great for wrestling. I think when it's all one company, other than indies, it's diluted and it sucks. But as much as we want that to succeed, you started the process. Great for you. Open casting call for writers. Hopefully we get hired. Anyway, all that being said, please quit squashing the only 2 hours that you have on TV with 2 screw finishes, 1 great match, and then a squash match.
Yep.
If you wanted, you only got. It ain't like your WWE, and you got 27,000 hours of TV a week. You got 2 hours. Take those 2 hours and push your product.
Make them count.
Quit doing storylines that nobody gives a damn about.
Yeah. Yeah, drop the BS, and man, use the talent you have. There's a couple of guys I'd go out and get, but use the talent you have, and freaking make your show, not a copy of what everybody else is doing. Make your show.
If so many people are bitching about WWE, why the hell does TNA want to be WWE?
Exactly. They've always wanted. Well.
Wait, not always. Not always.
I think that since the Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan regime has got there, they've wanted to be WWE light.
Yeah, well, Hogan's wet dream, Bischoff's too, is to be bigger than WWE. That's what they got a taste of it in 1997 into 1998 with WCW and NWO.
But the TNA has never had the talent pool and the budget that WCW had.
None. Yeah, Ted Turner's not back in the damn thing. So
exactly, they're not unless you're on equal footing with the same budget and the same talent pool that WWE has and 27,000 hours of programming. You're not going to compete with WWE.
But see, I'll take this and put it all in proper perspective in one nice, neat little sentence. TNA was more of competition to WWE when they weren't trying to be competition for the WWE.
Absolutely.
And they're doing exactly what I just said. They're being an alternative. They're not being WWE. They're being, here's your other option. We've got this kind of show going on. It was totally different.
This should have been their mantra back then. This should have been exactly what their TV commercials and their promos said. If you want something different from WWE, then come watch us.
Yeah, but you're promoting WWE then. And
no. True. But what I'm saying is now they couldn't even make that statement because they're WWE light.
Yeah. They're a watered down version. And when you walk into your strategy meetings and you're writing your stuff, and this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do the show, we're going to do this, da 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 da. When you do that and your goal is to outsmart Vince McMahon, you're screwed.
You're not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. No. You will not outsmart Vince. The man's a freaking genius.
I got a challenge for the two of y'all for next Saturday's show. I want you to write down and make a list of 5 things that WWE is doing right.
Oh, shit. Hell, I can give you that right now.
No.
This wouldn't take long.
Easy. Next week, right here on the Saturday Showcase.
Operative words for wrestling next week.
There you go. To be continued. There's your cliffhanger right there. Folks, let's run it down real quick. We will be live tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Beyond Ringside Live goes live. Pro wrestling star Mike Cruz will be joining us at the top of the 7 o'clock Eastern hour. And at 8 o'clock Eastern, I'll be joined by professional wrestling promoter from IWA Deep South and LXW, Kevin Brannon. Tuesday night, Back to Basics return. I will be joined by the Bulldozer, Matt Tremont, right here on Back to Basics in the Tuesday night conversation. Wednesday nights, the To Be Determined show, the Wicked Nemesis Tasha Simone and Mad Dog Matt Denton. After a street-wide haircut. I mean, a street-wide power cut. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, we believe you. Okay. That's cool. Love you, Matt. And, of course, Saturday mornings.
Could you surgically remove the corn cob that's up his butt?
I'm not going near anybody's ass.
Like Lewis Black said, sniff it and tell him that his stuff doesn't stink and reinsert it.
Okay, that's it. Wow. And from there, of course, we're back here next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, 8 Pacific. Want to remind everybody, the site to catch it all, beyondringside.com. Catch us on Twitter, catch us on Facebook, catch us on MySpace, and catch us on YouTube. Yes, YouTube presence there, and I'm having a lot of fun making the video slideshows. I've got a challenge that I'm going to put to these guys off the air, and you're going to be able to see the direct quotes, or you're going to see the benefits of that on the YouTube channel in the upcoming days. Thank you, Gordon Shell, the dog fighter, for coming on. Folks, check it out, Vimeo.com. Do the search, find the movie, and watch it. the dog fighter. Gordon, thank you again for coming on. A tremendous pleasure having you on, and look forward to having you back on in the very near future. Gentlemen, I've had a lot of fun. I do appreciate it. I will be working Codzillas tonight in Argo, Alabama. Karaoke resumes at right after the Alabama LSU game. So, folks, I hope y'all can make it out to say hi. And thank you to everybody. Had a stellar crowd last night at Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster. The Friday night tradition is growing all over again. Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase is a Monitor 4 production in association with C&E Enterprises and taking the right... God damn it, I was trying to figure out the way I wanted to say it.
C&E Enterprises sounds great.
Thank you. As well as through the Crosshairs Entertainment. There's your one, Hitman.
I like that one, actually.
Thank you. I just came up with this crap off the top of my head. Monitor 4 Productions has been around for a while, as well as Courtlow Media Distribution. For my tag team partners in this, there's a line I'd really like to use, but I'm not going to say it right now, so I will just go ahead and say, for the Hitman BDC, Ryan Adcock.
Often imitated, never duplicated, folks.
For the Cause and Effect, Robert Cosper.
Over and out.
This is the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne saying adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abisinia, au revoir. And until we meet again, aloha means bye-bye. Join us next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 Pacific, as we all go beyond Ringside with the Saturday Showcase. Bye for now.
New York.